The Vito Show. Yes. Oh, baby. YouTube completely screwed up my stream, which is fine. What was I going to say? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Vito Show. YouTube has screwed up my stream and the title of it, and we'll see if it updates it at all. Oh, it looks like it updated it. You know, originally I had like a good title and a good thumbnail, which would make people want to click on it, but now they just see my ugly face because the software sucks. Good. I'm glad. What are we going to be talking about tonight? We got a lot of topics, of course. We're going to be taking your calls. I'm still double-checking to make sure everything sounds good, looks good. Hope we're good. For some reason, I can't... Why is the YouTube chat showing up on the wrong place? Everything's wrong in my life, is the point. Nothing ever just works. Everything's got to be a little headache. Well, anyway, we're going to have a show tonight. It's going to be fun, even if I got some technical issues going on. I hope you're all doing well, everybody, including my best friend. I don't know, best friend. He's an okay guy. He's got a little smile on his face when I said that. He's got a little
warms my heart.
Cracked a little smile there. Let's go. My heart. Look at this new layout. Beautiful. Beautiful. You're on screen now, by the way.
Yeah.
The great,
okay,
as always, Mr. Girl, who we love. Well, I love
Hello,
him.
everybody.
Some hate him. Some don't know what to think.
I love you, too.
How you been?
I love you all.
How's everything going?
Been okay, as you know, working hard on this video I just finished, and now I'm enjoying a little relaxation.
That's nice. That's good. What was I going to say? You did have a new video show up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been working on that one hard. Tell you what, we can bring it up right now.
The Black Lives Matter. Oh.
So people know what's going on.
It's a deep dive into Black Lives Matter.
Let's go to Mr. Girl
hopefully
Returns.
Unbiased.
Unbiased, you're a white man. Of course it's biased. I would go into YouTube, type in Mr. Girl Returns.
Some would say.
Find his channel. You're going to say you're unbiased? You have no biases?
No. I would say I admit my biases.
Yeah.
I think that's as good as we can get.
Everybody has a slight racial bias.
You know?
Yeah. Let me so you would click on this black. I feel like, hold on. Does it feel like there's a delay between me and you?
I don't know. Does it feel like I'm responding late to shit?
Yes, absolutely. Somehow you're getting my audio
that's not
really
good.
late. I wonder why that would be. Yeah.
It looks, looking at the green things on the Discord, maybe my Discord, your thing only lights up when I get your audio. I'm not sure.
Yeah, for some reason, we have a big delay here, which makes it so it's hard for us to have a back and forth. Why don't you can you unconnect Discord and try reconnecting? Just reboot Discord and see what happens. We'll get back to you. We'll get back to him. We'll find him. For the meantime, what are we going to do? Oh, I didn't make my solo news article set up. Doot, doot. Doot. We're going to take a look at some of the news while we try to get my good friend to reconnect. In the meantime, what are we talking about? There's big news. Big news. Okay, it looks like Mr. Girl is reconnected. Say something. Now I got no audio from you. Test 1. This is why we need to test things before we do things. What? Now he's texting me. You know you can send me a message on Discord. Hold on. Alright, this is a nightmare. This is a nightmare. Unmute you. Oh, okay, right. That's my job. All right.
There we go. What do you think?
Okay. All right. Let's try saying the alphabet together.
Okay.
A.
B.
C.
E.
E.
F.
All right. There's a little lag, but I think we can make it happen.
Okay.
All right. Let's do it. All right. Anyway, you guys need to subscribe to Mr. Girl Returns. We'll get back to this. We'll talk about your video later, Max. Today I want to talk about 6 days in Fallujah. Have you heard about this? Have you seen this?
I believe it's Fallujah.
Fajuji.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
Is it
I'm
racist
excited about it.
if I mispronounce it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't help. It could be the straw that breaks the camel's back.
You're excited for this game,
so to speak. Yeah, I'm excited for it. I like any disturbing, confusing game where I feel bad about killing people, like The Last of Us 2. It basically seems like The Last of Us 2, the first-person shooter, and I'm on board.
Well, real quick,
My
let's
name
take a
is
look
Jason Kyle.
at some of this gameplay. So let's see what this man has to say about it.
With Lima
Sergeant
Company,
Jason
3rd Battalion,
Kyle.
1st Marines. On November 9th, 2004, I entered the city with 12 Marines plus myself. And by November 13th, I was down to 4 Marines and myself.
4 Marines left.
6 Days in Fallujah recreates stories from the battle based on eyewitness accounts.
So this is a true
One
to
squad has
life.
already walked
Wow,
down this
it's
alley.
got good
So We're
graphics.
just like walking down pretty confidently,
Yeah, it looks nice.
and like these guys just open up.
There's one in the alley! There! I got you.
If you know anything about me, I like the idea of killing people who look different from me. That's a joke. You now have to say that's a joke immediately after
That was the
making a
go
joke,
command.
so they
One
can't
tap
take it
issues
out of
orders to your team
context.
based on what you're pointing at.
Oh, they can just clip it.
Pin
Not quick
enemies in
enough.
place with suppressive
They'll
fire
know.
while you flank.
You have to say it while you have to have a sound effect that you push while you're saying it. I think the idea of documentary interviews turned into video game visuals is pretty cool.
I'm going to skip around a little bit. So,
Every
okay, so we're in Baghdad. Or wait, not
Generated
Baghdad. Where is
procedurally.
Yeah, it's Iraq, right?
every map is a new map.
Yeah.
So just like actual combat,
Every map is a
you'll
new
never
map.
know what to expect.
Oh, that's weird. All right. So, I mean, you get the point is that it is a... I'm going to turn the sound off and just watch it. It's trying to be a historical game, which we've seen kind of. I mean, we've seen World War II and Vietnam games, which claim to be a bit more historical than other games. The problem is that this maybe is a little closer to... I don't know. I don't understand what people are mad about. You know what it
It's
is?
Fallujah. I looked it up. It's Fallujah.
Fallujah. Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
it is. You know what I think it is? We used to make like
What?
Vietnam War movies, but you never had to talk to any real Vietnamese people while you were doing it.
Okay, so the complaint is that it's dehumanizing, but you're saying that it's too humanizing.
Well, I'm saying that it's not. Now that we're
Like-
connected by the internet, somebody like you used to make a Vietnam War movie. It's not like people in Vietnam were complaining about it because they probably barely knew about it.
Or they were complaining about it and we just didn't hear them.
Yeah, we just didn't care because it's America, a real country. That's a joke again. So, what we have is people telling us that what you can't make it, and also the complication of it being a video game where people think video games are like heroic stories, and that because you're the player, you're the hero killing all the Iraqis. Which
Yeah, and that's not really how video games are, or at least a lot of them are not like that anymore.
Some of them are, but isn't the point that we should evolve the medium past that? And isn't this what this game is kind of trying to do?
Which would necessitate you killing people who don't deserve to be killed in video games if you are going to move the medium past that and still have killing.
Yeah, you should kill civilians and feel bad about it. But
Right.
it's a but here's the point. The point is that this is at least interesting. It's at least something that I want to try and see how they handle it. Right?
Yes. Yes. And that should give it a lot of points for it just being interesting. I feel like no matter how bad a game makes me feel, a game being interesting is a miracle. So it's odd that they don't really care about that.
That's the thing, is like, if you believe that video games are a storytelling medium, an artistic medium, then someone coming out with something that is maybe shocking in what it's going to portray and like complicated with the politics of it, you should go, well, I can see how people would be offended by this, but me as somebody who believes in the artistic potential of this medium, I have to wait and see how it's going to play out. That has not been
Yes.
the case, sadly.
No. Well, do you think they should have had a contingency plan for this? Like, I would think that in the current political climate, it is inevitable that someone of Iraqi descent is going to make a lot of noise about this and say that it's horrible and racist and needs to be stopped. It feels like they didn't anticipate that, but they probably should have.
They probably should have. And the other thing is, maybe it's good, the controversy, because now people are here.
Oh, it's good for them.
It's
yeah,
fantastic
of course.
for
It's
them.
good.
Because I would have
Yeah,
never
'cause
heard
it-
about
'cause-
this game or like been like, oh, I got to check this out.
No,
Now I'm like,
the government is not going to shut down production.
no, even though they want them to. Well, let's go to this Kotaku article. Kotaku has been very mad at this game because Kotaku hates everything. Kotaku used to be an organization I defended because they used to have two great people there. They had the great Jason Schreier, who's kind of a nudge, but at least he wrote good articles. And Tim Rogers, a great friend of mine who I think hates me now. No, we're good. His Discord hates me, and that's fine because I hate myself. Here's Kotaku's most recent article. Is that you don't have to run the exclusive reveal for the war crime game, is what they're calling it. The war crime game. I mean, are these about war crimes? I don't know if there are war crimes in this. I think it's about they interviewed actual soldiers who did stuff. What are the war crimes? I guess we're gonna find out.
I think their implication is that going to Iraq under false or possibly false pretenses is itself a war crime.
Oh, because George W. Bush committed a war crime. So the
Then
entire
killing a lot of
Congress-
civilians. A lot of civilians were killed.
Yes. All right, well, let's read through this real quick. Rebooted War Crime Simulator 6 Days in Fallujah. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Got its official gameplay reveal yesterday and a new trailer that seems to confirm some people's criticisms of the game as one-sided propaganda for the U.S. war machine. Interesting. It was run by IGN, blah, 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 and it's going to be a playable documentary of one of the deadliest sieges in the U.S. invasion of Iraq. United States military veteran Sergeant Jason Kyle and sorry, I wanted to make sure the stream looked good. And the developers of Victera walk you through the first ever gameplay video, okay, based on real-life events from the 2004 Second Battle for Fallujah. 2004. Squad tactics, clear enemies. Enemies is that's a highlighted, I'll admit, that's a charged term to call them enemies. I mean, they are enemy combatants if they're holding a gun, I guess, but I wonder, I wonder, that must be, it's in quotes, so that must be an actual quote from whoever wrote this up. The
IGN's
press
description.
release. Yeah. Layouts will always change. You never know who's going to be hiding an AK under their burqa. That's not in there. That's my assumption. Gameplay ends with the player bursting into a room where a family of 4 hides in the corner hoping to not get murdered. This sounds interesting, right?
Yeah, enemies is interesting. I mean,
it's also interesting that you're going to burst into a room full of civilians, and who knows, maybe one of them's got a gun. You never know.
there's some of that in Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
The trailer does not mention the accounts of indiscriminate gunfire by the U.S. military or the reported use of white phosphorus, a chemical that literally melts through your body. The Iraq Body Count Project estimates 288,000 people died, the majority being civilians. All right. Well, there's a lot here. Obviously, Kotaku is not happy about it. 6 Days in Fallujah may end up being a critical look at the myriad ways people suffered during the battle and at whose hands, but time and again, the game's shooter marketing has cut against that possibility. Everyone can and should interrogate how the game is shown, whether it should even exist, and what it ends up being. You do not need to host an elevated trailer that whitewashes a shameful moment in history into a tactical simulation. Okay. So, Kotaku raises some interesting, interesting ideas here. The idea, I mean, it's a very politically charged type of thing. I mean, I don't know how you write a press release or make a trailer for a game like this. I probably wouldn't have used the word enemies directly. I would have maybe said enemy combatants or a more, what do you want to call it? A more technical term. But it is interesting.
Yeah, if you were on the defensive, you definitely would want to pitch it as more educational and a chance to understand the sacrifices that we made and the horrible position the soldiers were put in, and then the horrible things that happened to civilians.
So but is this a bunch of guys who are just making a war zone, hoorah game, I would
No.
say I don't think so. Yeah.
No, but is it unethical? So we were comparing it to books and movies earlier, but is it unethical? Games are supposed to be fun,
Right.
at least in their current iteration. They're supposed to be fun, and the procedurally generated maps make it feel less like a documentary and more like a game,
Right. That's actually something I
like
take
an
issue with.
arcade game.
If they were like, we, authentically modeled this this street where it happened. Instead, it's like every single time the terrain will change, so you can shoot Iraqis in different locations. You're like, oh, I thought this was like a historical thing,
Yeah.
But then again, if you watch a war movie, I guarantee they're not. I don't know. They're probably not modeling 1-to-1 the city in a war game. But I guess it doesn't make sense to constantly change.
I'm starting to
it up.
feel
Or a war
bad.
movie.
I'm starting to feel bad about the game. Do you feel that way?
I feel bad, like maybe it's made by idiots, but that doesn't mean. But I
I'm
still
starting to
want.
worry about that.
I still want.
Yo,
to
no,
play
no
it, though.
censorship, of course. That's the problem, is that if you talk about censorship, you put people like you and me in the position of having to defend it, even if we also don't really. I guess it's two separate questions. One, should it be censored? Which is not really. I mean, obviously, no.
Never. No.
So then, I guess then all there is to talk about is it ethical to make this game?
Billy Boy Blue donates $10. Says, a Vito stream with Mr. Girl, have the clouds parted, have the gods come down to earth. He's very excited to see you, Mr. Girl.
Oh, I'm excited to be seen.
Billy Boy's a big fan. Well, that's the thing is, I think there is criticism here to say it's interesting. You don't want to take the Vietnam War and make it, about zombies or whatever. You don't want to cartoon it up. You want to treat it seriously. Are these guys treating it seriously? But even if they're not, this idea like you shouldn't run the trailer. Why don't you just run the trailer and comment on it is the correct way to phrase this. Say, we should be critical of this game and what it might be portraying.
Ignoring it is a weird stance about something obviously newsworthy, which is something that journalists have started doing and talking about more. Like, let's just not show Trump's press conference or whatever. And it's like,
right.
It's clearly newsworthy and important to people. Like, I understand not wanting to show like a 3-hour rambling thing, but you can't
gotta show
start
it's
ignoring
news.
things because you don't like them.
Yeah, you're a journalist. It's like recently I saw people and they're like, it's always the stupid argument of, oh, let's not, publish the shooter's name or any of his background or anything because then, it might inspire copycats. And I'm like,
yeah.
I'm sorry, man. If somebody kills 8 people, it's newsworthy. And I want to know every single thing about that person to know what possibly inspired him to do it and whether, other people might do it. Like this
whether
idea
you want
that,
to do it.
Yeah, whether I... Come on now. I know who I want to shoot, and it isn't Asian women. I'll tell you that. I love Asian women. There was a rally against Asian hate in my neighborhood, and I really resist the urge to pretend. I wanted to give them something to rally against. I wanted to go out and yell "Make America Great Again" because I think it would have hyped them up a little bit to be like, "Yeah, what we're doing is important because guys like that." But there were cops with them, and I was like, the cops will probably get mad and yell at me. I wanted to give them that. You're standing up against, a guy like me. Isn't that good?
Much the way this petition is advertising this game.
Yeah. Well, here's where it got weird. So we agree that you should report on it. If you're a video game journalist and you think this trailer is, giving the wrong impression of the Iraqi conflict.
Fucking headline. It's contradicting itself. Like, they're writing an article about it on one of the most popular gaming sites ever, saying you don't have to pay attention to this game, guys. You can't really have it both ways.
With a direct link to the trailer. So what's the difference?
Yes. You think you would at least have some self-aware line in there about how you are in fact promoting the game.
And you're doing it for clicks. And you're creating controversy.
You're
creating controversy, which will make it much bigger of a thing.
Yeah, but you're doing it for money. So don't.
Yeah, but these guys, these journalists, they go, "Oh, I don't think about the numbers. I just report on what's important." Anyway, here's where this gets complicated. Because, okay, we agree you should be, you can be critical about this, and even me and you are being critical, where we're like, the marketing for this seems like it's not the way we would make this. We would make this like a documentary style thing. I keep thinking of that movie American Sniper. I'm like, That was like, you know, even though that was kind of like obvious in your face patriotism, it still was like, it wasn't gratuitous, you know? Or maybe it was a little gratuitous, but you don't, you can, I don't know. It's interesting to analyze even as somebody who maybe doesn't agree with the politics of that movie. You know what I'm saying? But
Yes,
go ahead.
it's not total propaganda, and it's not supposed to just be fun.
No.
I keep thinking about, what if there was a game where you're rescuing Jews from a concentration
Holocaust?
camp? Yeah, you're going through a concentration camp, and there's soldiers and there's Jews, and they're all popping out at you at different angles, and like, whoa, you lost 500 points because you killed a Jewish family by accident.
Yeah.
Whoops. And then it's like
Area
it's procedurally
51,
generated.
they just pop up from the bottom of the screen, and you have to like quickly decide.
Yeah. It's every time the layout of Auschwitz will be different.
Yeah.
Isn't that fun, guys? I can understand if you take that to, you know, an extreme of something that everybody gets uncomfortable talking about.
But I could see an Auschwitz game.
Pretty weird.
I want to real quick say Billy Boy Blue with $5 says he has questions for you, so we'll get to him later. He also says get Lacey Green on here. I've never talked to Lacey Green. I don't talk to white women anymore.
I tweeted at her a couple times. I want to collaborate with her.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that.
Thanks.
Good luck with
Thank
the good
you.
Lacey Green.
I admire her work.
What if there was a game where you're like a spy and you have to dig secret tunnels to get people out of Auschwitz?
See, that would be cool. Or if you were like, if
or you
it's
got
a
to bribe
survival horror and you're trying to
guards.
escape.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those would also be seen as insensitive. But there's something about the accidental killing of civilians as like, well, you didn't get a perfect score on this level, that I can understand. Even if your heart is in the right place, it's going to upset people. You know, this game would be good if it were satire.
If it was like, what? Like what do you call it? I keep thinking about Starship Troopers lately.
Yeah, if it was like Starship Troopers, and it's like how many did you get, buddy? And you're like, I think I got 15. And I'm like, oh, awesome, man! Like, did you get their skulls? Like, put them in my back. Like,
did you rip their ears off and make a necklace out of them? Yeah,
yeah.
You would never. But satire is dead. You couldn't do it. Nobody understands satire anymore. If you made that, everybody would just be mad.
Okay, but it would be technically actually.
It would be
less
technically,
offensive.
it would be better.
It'd be more tasteful.
Here come 100 Iraqis, and they're just coming down a hallway.
It's like a zombie game.
Like a zombie game. See, that would be like better political commentary. I really hope
you get to have
guys
your
do
gameplay mechanics, and you get to have the subversive message, and you're making fun of the United States government. You could really have it all if you did that.
So here's where things get complicated. Because we've discussed, you can absolutely criticize this game, and me and you have criticisms for it. There's this guy, Osama Dorius. I don't know if you saw this. And to be clear, this guy is or at least he claims to be. I mean, I have no way to verify this. The lead game designer on Gotham Knights, which is the new Batman family game featuring Batman, Nightwing, Robin, and Batgirl. Very exciting. The follow-up, obviously, to the beloved Arkham Knights, Arkham Asylum games, or at least spiritual sequel. Now, this man has... Oh, he's also got other... he's got other credits. Co-founder of, what is this? Montreal Independent Game Awards. This guy's a teacher at Dawson College, TEDx speaker. Okay, so this guy... Now, I've learned recently, he did not start this petition, but he tweeted about it. And his tweet went pretty viral. It was basically saying, I can't find the tweet anymore, but it was basically saying, sign this petition. This is an insult to Iraqis, whatever else, blah, blah, blah. But here's the petition. The petition is, stop Highwire Games from normalizing the mass murder of Iraqis.
Jesus, it's got 2,000 since the last time I checked it.
Yeah, it's almost at 5,000 right now. It's at 4,700. So we talk about the game. It promotes the mass murder of Iraqis by American invaders. Talks about Iraq was an illegal invasion. And here's the big claim. Bombing, shooting, and humiliating the Iraqi people is being normalized in this sick video game, which will inevitably breed a new generation of mass shooters in America and brainwash gamers into thinking racism is okay. That's a big claim. That's a big claim.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with this is that he wants this to go. I don't know where I find this, but the people he's sending this to are...
Oh, it's at the top. It's at the top of the description, I think. Is there a little petition to United States and 8 others right below the picture?
Right below the picture. Oh, started this petition. Okay, let's look at who he wants to look at this. He wants Joe Biden to weigh in. He wants the U.S. government, the Canadian government, the Iraqi government. He wants all the game stores to weigh in.
So everyone who can kill it. I mean,
Everyone who
Joe Biden can't kill it, but everyone who they think can kill it.
So this is where we have a problem, because the second you say, I want the U.S. government to do something about it, I want the Canadian government to do about it, you're talking about censoring art.
Oh, decision makers.
Decision makers. These are the people who they want to send this to. They want the U.S. He's saying he's not saying Microsoft PlayStation, I want you to censor it, which would be within your legal whatever as a company if you really don't want to sell it. Absolutely. But the idea that you want governments to censor art is A, obviously horrific, and B, not something that I want the head designer of an EA game to be promoting, if that makes sense. Like, that...
Why?
Because why would you want government censorship of art? Isn't that do you know how long and hard we had to fight for that? That you in the game industry, which is already an industry which has faced so much censorship in the past from so many governments trying to shut it down. Like, the last thing you should want is the government to say anything about any of this. You want the government to leave your industry alone and let it, fulfill any artistic vision you want. I mean, you shouldn't even be... I mean, why stop it? Why not? Why have a petition? What are you trying to accomplish? You want it to not get made, right?
That seems to be the goal. That it's not explicitly stated, but decision makers does certainly imply that's the plan.
So war is not
except
normal.
the studio, like I don't know. Could they petition the studio to change the game? Like, obviously at this point they can't just cancel it.
They're not gonna cancel it. If
no,
anything,
they've
got
already spent
so much,
way too much money on it.
Yeah, and all this press is just fantastic. Now, it's possible that Steam might get worried and try to ban it, but I really don't think they will, because they have other military shooters on there. I think they even have military shooters that are set in Iraq.
So what do you think they should be asking for? If this were you, and you were horrified, and you thought that this was going to lead to dehumanization or racism, what would you ask for? And not censorship, obviously.
I would ask for them to make sure their game explores all sides, hire some Iraqi guy or talk to some Iraqis who were there,
So they're doing that according to their website. They've got that. They've got one of the playable characters is an Iraqi father trying to escape with his family.
That's so interesting. That's great.
Yeah. So maybe they should be asking to have them be more open about what it is exactly they're making.
Yeah, or just listen. I mean, why are you changing the layouts? Be open about it. Why are you changing the layouts every time? What do you think that accomplishes? And if they go, well, it's more exciting because you get to shoot people in different configurations. Then you kind of have a problem, you know?
Yeah, it could be a discussion, and that's a good point. Now, maybe they're just being cheap. Maybe it's cheaper to do it.
I mean, I don't think they're a huge company. Highwire Games. I've never heard of either of these places.
Yeah, it might be easier to do that than to design. Well, I don't know. I don't know anything about game
I don't know
development.
anything about anything. Real quick, I want to read a couple of these chats that are coming in. What do you call it? Billy Boy Blue says, Racktech Roughnecks, hoo-ya. Derek L says, there was a game where you escape a concentration camp. The game is literally called Auschwitz. Interesting. Or you play as a guard, I guess.
Oh, that's cool.
And we did get a super chat from Billy Boy Blue. We'll read that one later.
Rico's Roughnecks.
He's posting limericks. Rico's Roughnecks. Oorah. I have to talk about Godzilla 1998. Have you ever seen that movie? The one with Matthew Broderick?
Yeah.
Me and Andy.
Yeah, that was
Signore
the first time I ever kissed a girl.
at
was
that
during the
movie.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, what do you call it? Me and Andy Signore are going to talk about that movie, which to me feels like a what do you call it? It's like a Starship Troopers that they made accidentally. Where it's like, yeah, America killed the monster, and you're like, you blew up half the city, and you basically killed a pregnant mom and her children by bombing Madison Square Garden. Congratulations.
That's funny. Yeah, it's not very good.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking when I look at this. See, look, this company is 3 people. Oh, no, here, I guess there's some white. All right, let's see. Let's see how many Iraqis I see in this picture of this studio. Can I open this image in a new folder here? Look at all the Iraqis working at Highwire Games. Oh, wait, I see an Asian lady. So she's stopping Asian hate. All right, white guy, white guy, white guy, Asian lady, white guy, 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 white lady, white lady. Nice.
Where is this?
It's probably like Norway or something, which excuses it. Let's find out. Why'd you tell me what camera it was? Highwire Games. Oh, Marty O'Donnell. That's not a Norwegian game. Where are these guys based out of? Seymour, I don't know. This guy's worked on Destiny and whatever else. Maybe it is in America. Studio, about. It's just pictures of you guys. Says he worked with 343 Industries, so maybe they are in America. They're probably in America. What city? Do you recognize that building in the background? There's like some weird...
No.
Let's see. Highwire Games. Maybe it's on the map. Let's go to maps. They have no idea where these are. I don't think these people exist. It's trying to send me to the California Science Center. All right, well, I don't know where they're based, but they're all white. Congratulations. Which is fine. Though, if you're making a game about Iraqis, maybe hire an Iraqi to help write it. That seems reasonable. Or at least get a consultant. See, that's the kind of openness we want, right? We want to be like, okay, I know you talk to a bunch of American Army guys, and they're going to tell you the story of how they shot at a bunch of brown people. Did you get any brown people? Is the question. And who are they, and where'd you find them, and what do they know? You know, what are they into? Who's the other studio that made this game? There's 2 studios.
But the counter argument would be that you're gamifying a horrible, inhumane mistake, is what they're saying. I guess the counter argument would be that there is no way to make this into a fun game that acknowledges, the truth of what happened.
Well, that's the problem is, you look at a war movie. In a war movie, you're not in the movie. You're not holding the gun shooting at the people. There's a level of disconnect. Video games, obviously, especially a first-person game, I mean, you're talking about you're there. You're part of the experience. So what are you going to learn? I mean, if you're playing, but if it's giving you different perspectives, if at one point you play as a soldier and another point you play as a Iraqi father running away, I mean, maybe that's the best way to do it, is to give you different first-person perspectives and let you decide who was where and why. Let's see. More than 100 Marine soldiers and Iraqi civilians have provided thousands of photographs, hundreds of videos, and countless hours of their time to recreate these events with authentic. Well, that's what they should be putting out. Put out that video. Put out the video where we talk to every single person and what they are and who they're doing. Don't tell me about the fact that the terrain changes every time. All right, well, they have this whole FAQ. That's the least important part. Okay, here's the FAQ. This is important. Why are you making this game? Many who fought in the Iraq War demonstrated courage and sacrifice as great as any in history, but their stories haven't been told because the war was controversial. We cannot forget these people or their stories. Their courage inspires us. And their sacrifice reveals powerful truths about war and the human beings who are most affected by it. I hate to say it, this is a very one-sided view, it sounds like.
When they say many who fought in the Iraq War, that clearly is not talking about Iraqi civilians, who are definitely the group who is most fucked over by the war.
Yeah, and I'm sure Iraqi civilians also demonstrated courage and sacrifice. It's weird that they're only talking about the combatants here.
And then the way it's phrased simply because the war was controversial. Well, they're acting like people don't tell stories about the Iraq War. There are lots of movies about the Iraq War and books. Like the stories are being told. That's not really that
right.
honest.
Yeah, there's plenty of ways to get the story. There's even Iraq movies and everything. It's very all right. Now he's saying is the new trailer this one? We already watched this one from 3 days ago.
I don't feel good, Vito. That's just not making me feel good.
No, this is a terrible way. Whoever's in charge of this FAQ is doing a very bad job of convincing.
Yeah,
you.
and it's like two Americans hugging. Like, man, that was so hard.
when I
people.
went around that corner and that lady was there and I thought it was a bad guy and I shot her in the head.
Yeah.
It explores many tough topics, including the events that led to it. How are Iraqi people portrayed in the game? We've interviewed 26 Iraqis, 23 of whom are from Fallujah, and we put a bunch of ping pong balls on their bodies so when they get shot in the face, they fall down with realistic. No, it doesn't say that. We're anxious for you to experience their stories. Can you imagine you show up and you're like, "Do you want to interview me?" And they're like, "No, we want to know how an Iraqi would get shot."
Fall down.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you scream?
Yeah. What would you say? Like, Allah Akbar or something like. We love hearing that kind of thing. We want some authentic Iraqi screams in this game.
They interview them and then just scare them while they're interviewing them. They're like, "That's all we needed."
Players will assume the role of an unarmed Iraqi father trying to get his family out of the city during certain missions. Yeah, Wobro says to watch the trailer. I think we just watched it. Will you recreate the death of a real Marine or soldier? We will not recreate the death of a specific service member. Oh, yeah, I hope not.
Without their family's permission, but with their family. So, well, yes.
I guess if your family wants to see you die in somebody's arms.
We're gonna ask.
You'll never play as an insurgent during the single-player campaign or in a multiplayer recreation. See, I don't think you can do this as a multiplayer game.
No, definitely not. But why won't you play as an insurgent during the single player campaign?
I don't know. It's a great question. Like, shouldn't you have, somebody and you get some perspective on what were these guys fighting for? Why were they fighting? What was in their head?
Right. This is a unique opportunity that the one thing video games can do is force you to be in the shoes of your supposed enemy and understand why they did what they did.
Yeah, so this game sounds like it's going to be bad, or at least not handled in the way that I think they should handle it.
Immoral.
This is not a vision from a guy who's like, I want to really dig deep into the Iraq War and like the moral ambiguity of it all. This is a guy who's saying, I want to show U.S. soldiers, band of brothers, hugging, touching.
Doesn't this look like the U.S. Army website, too?
It does kind of look, yeah. It does look like
the format and the pictures. It looks like an ad. All of these pictures look like ads.
See, if you're going to make
the color scheme.
The smart thing to do would be, look, you want to make a multiplayer shooter and you want, to shoot brown people, just make up a fake country because... And you can tell a real story if you want to in the single-player campaign. But the second you tell me, oh, we're going to Iraq, you're going to shoot... I mean, how are you going to have multiplayer if you can't play as the insurgents? Is it going to be U.S. Army guys fighting U.S. Army guys? What's the multiplayer?
It'll probably be like Left 4 Dead.
Oh, you got to escape? Yeah, they're all
probably
coming out of the
PvE.
PvE. All right, so there's 2 points to make here. One... yeah, this game sounds like they've got a lot of problems in terms of narrative. But two, video game journalists, you gotta buck the fuck up. And you should still want to see this game.
And talk about it. Say your opinion.
You should want to talk
without
about
saying without trying to convince we're gonna cover this game, but other sites shouldn't. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, while you link to the trailer. And again, yeah, I do want to see how a company tries to... I want to see what they're trying to do. It sounds like they're going to fall on their face. But...
Okay. So, we agree that these are not the right people to be making this game. Do you think it's salvageable?
No. I mean,
if it
based
keeps
on
going
what
in
I've
this
read
direction,
so far...
I think Microsoft and PlayStation are going to pull it.
I understand why people are calling it insensitive, because it seems to be glossing over
Because
a lot of realities, and it's really just focusing. Well, it's just focusing on the American experience and being like, yeah, these soldiers went through a lot. And you're like, yeah, that way they killed 288,000 people. That must have been a real heartbreak for those guys. Not to say that anybody who went to Iraq, I know soldiers on the ground aren't making those decisions. Let's be clear.
No, and that's what could be interesting is that you're forcing a situation where you don't necessarily agree with what you're doing, and you're doing it anyway.
That's the tragedy and that's what the video game journalists aren't saying. Video game journalists are focusing on this is insensitive and it shouldn't get made. And all that people are hearing is like, you don't want there to be video games about real world conflicts. Okay, game journalists need to say there is so much that you could explore here, and you could explore it in an interesting way and give examples of like how you would improve it. But instead, they're just clutching their pearls and screaming about it and like giving death tolls and talking about white phosphorus. And you're like, dude, you're like, yeah, okay. Reportedly, white phosphorus
they should be challenging them.
They should challenge them instead of saying, the trailer doesn't mention gunfire or white phosphorus. Be like, yeah, talk about like how a game could implement that, how a game could show. Okay, some of the, sins of both sides. I want to play as an insurgent. I want to play as an Iraqi guy who's like, I'm defending Iraq from the invaders. This is my country. America comes in to stomp it into the ground. I'm going to fight back or whatever else. And why not? That to me sounds, honestly, if they made a whole shooter game where you're just an Iraqi or you're just, I hate to say it, a Nazi, that would be fantastic in terms of like moving the needle on these storylines. Like I want to play a game where you're just the good Nazi. Well, no,
those are the stories that are actually those are the stories that are actually not being told. I have never seen. There have been a couple American movies
tried it
with
once.
Nazi main characters.
There was a Call of Duty tank Nazi. There was one Call of Duty mission, and they all got mad about it. I think it was Call of Duty. Is it Collateral? I don't know. But the problem was that they put it out, and they're like, "How dare you allow the player to play as a Nazi? But it is a Nazi who's what do you call it? Is this the guy? German tank commander, World War II? I don't remember what the mission was called, but." Basically, game journalists were like, you're playing as a Nazi, and it doesn't matter that he's a guy, and it's the end of the war, and he ends up losing in the end. They're like, no matter what, it's reprehensible. And that's when you're like, well, no, that's way more interesting than playing as the Allies and storming Normandy Beach for the 50,000th time,
Yeah.
Real quick, I'm gonna read two more comments. Let's take some calls in a second to talk about this. Let's see. I love Mr. Girl, but his Jew fro is kind of making me want to shoot my load in all that Mario Brothers 2 Sutton haircut. Okay. Good
that was
stuff.
A lot.
You guys are making
chew on that for a while.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. You guys are making the same mistake as the journalists. You're assuming what the game is about. You don't know the story or the narrative yet. That's true.
We're reading no, shut up. That's not true. We're reading their PR. This is them painting their own game in the best possible light. Right. And they sound like army recruiters.
Yeah. We're
not judging the game. We're judging the direction it seems to be going based on what the game designers are saying. And we're clearly biased towards wanting this game to be good. And I don't feel good. I don't feel good anymore.
No, it sounds like just based on the marketing, the fact where they're like, oh, don't worry, you don't play as an insurgent. I'm like, that's bad. Like, that's bad. Yeah, you should play as an insurgent.
Right.
You should play as a heroic insurgent who dies for his country. And, like, what does that mean? What does it mean to die for your country when your country is, according to the history books, the enemy,
Right. If you sacrifice yourself saving 7 of your brothers in arms or sisters in arms, are you only a hero if the government that sent you to do that was in the right?
It's a very interesting there's a lot. It's like, this could be more interesting. The way they're selling it to me is like, it just sounds like, we made Band of Brothers and it's about shooting brown people. And one of them
almost sounds like
it kind of, the father mission sounds thrown in based on how little they're spotlighting it.
Yes, it almost sounds like it is a backlash against all of our negative perceptions of the Iraq war. Like they're trying to say, like they're trying to push back against the general negative perception.
Yeah, it sounds like they're like, well, these stories haven't been told because of how controversial it is, and you don't know what these guys sacrificed. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm willing to hear some of that, sure, but if the whole game's about that, I don't know. It sounds like a very one-sided thing. But then maybe I don't know. I feel like we've heard Iraq war stories from that point of view. I don't. What other movies?
Yeah.
Wasn't Jarhead and American Sniper, like those are all Iraq war fucking things? Am I crazy? All right, let's take some calls here.
I don't remember. I think so.
Let's talk to Crazy Geezer. I haven't talked to him in a while. Crazy Geezer, you there?
Loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
What's going on, buddy?
Not much, just hanging out. How you feeling about 6 days in Fallujah?
Don't even know what that is. I've been focusing on other things, like jailbreaking most of my systems.
Yeah, well, what's on your mind tonight? You just calling in to say hi?
That too, and just to make sure that you're still alive and sane and kicking.
I'm doing okay. Crazy Geezer. Thanks for calling in. We're going to try and find some people who got an opinion on what's going on here. Let's talk to Moses. Moses, you there?
I am, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Feeling good. What's on your mind?
Oh, not much, man. I came to just enjoy the stream, but yeah, I took a look at the game you had up there. It does seem interesting. Like I could see this as like a VR game with like motion sensors on your body. I made a joke earlier in chat, like a Dr. Ho connected to your chest for like impact sensors.
I'm sure that Mr. Girl loves that idea. He's a big VR enthusiast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about this
although you-
idea from this petition that it's going to train the next generation of mass shooters to hate brown people?
Oh, with all the games that have come out before this, if it hasn't happened yet, I don't see this.
If you don't
happening.
hate brown people by now, then nothing else is going to convince you? Is that the
Yeah,
idea?
I think so.
All right.
Because they're going to act like this is the next, 9/11, and these are people grasping for straws for, views, I think.
Max, I
The
don't know if you-
implication
Yeah.
that
You s-
we're all super close to committing a mass shooting, and we have to be very careful about what media we consume or create, because at any moment any one of us might just give into our almost fully formed genocidal hatred is very odd. What were you going to say?
I was gonna say, I don't know if you see this trailer on my screen where they're showing actual.
Yeah, I see it. I see it.
footage, yeah. Yeah. Well, here's the problem that we keep running into is I don't know the best way to phrase it. As I always put it, yeah, white people, we're really dumb. Is the thing. We're easily radicalized by literally. We do anything. If I see a movie, I said it in my when we were talking about Joker. Everybody got mad when the Joker trailer came out, and they were saying this is going to radicalize so many white men. I was like, it's true. White people, we see a clown killing people, and we go, that should be me, because we're just the stupidest. Dumb. It's like, no, we're not
I
that
don't
stupid.
agree with that.
I don't agree with it either. Hold on.
Yeah, kids don't want to be Batman anymore.
Yeah, we want to tell
Have you-
society what's up.
Have you played Modern Warfare?
Yeah, 1 and 2.
No, the new one.
No.
So the story mode does put you in the shoes of every different possible faction in the game that is fighting each other, and they have quotes before every time you die. You see a quote, and one of the quotes they had was, "Terrorism is the war of the poor, and war is the terrorism of the rich."
That's pretty interesting.
And like the entire is very interesting. Yeah, the entire point of the game is basically to force you to empathize with terrorists, and it's like really, really good. And I think when this game comes out, I kind of want to make like a comparison video of the two,
Yeah.
assuming they'll be different.
That's the thing that people talk about war. I mean, Call of Duty's in such a weird situation. Because there are the single-player aspects. I mean, some of the single-player campaigns in Call of Duty have been really interesting, thought-provoking in certain ways.
Right. Yes. It's like the most thought-provoking like single-player game make. Not the most. I mean, Last of Us 2, but some of the most. And then the multiplayer is the most fucking commercial, boring.
Yeah. Then they have a zombies mode, and you're like, why? I wish you guys would pick a lane. You know.
Yeah.
Do you play Modern Warfare at all, Moses? Have you played any of the Call of Duty games?
Oh, I definitely did back in the day. My reflexes of just, I can't keep up with the kids on Adderall these days, but
yeah.
One of my greatest memories of gaming is, honest to God, Modern Warfare 2, that opening scene when you're driving through the town and everyone in the town starts to spread out and it's you guys in the Humvees and you're going right into the town. And this was right as HD was just, on the brink. I had a brand new 1080p Sony 52-inch TV. It was fantastic. And that still to this day, that is one of my most treasured memories of gaming was that scene going through the town.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the one, God, I used to remember the name of the mission where you're basically in a gunship with the black and white, green and white night vision, which was directly taken from actual footage. Let me see, night vision soldier or gunship. Basically, they took this one YouTube video. Yeah, AC-130 gunship. I don't know if this is the same one where you're just using, it's not this one. You're just using, basically our military is immortal. They're a million miles in the sky looking down on buildings going, yeah, blow that one up. All right, there's a guy running for the truck. Let's hit him. Okay, there's two guys. There's two guys
people through the level.
Even guys who get away and they're hiding in the field. They're like, oh, there's like two in the field, and they bomb. I'm like, that guy survived. Why don't you let one of them survive? He'll go home to his family. He's got a great story to tell. But no, they just blow everybody to Kingdom Come. It's insane. And I remember playing a Call of Duty mission where they basically, I think, directly took something like this. And you're like, man, war is a nightmare. Here, you see the guy running for his life as these bombs are exploding behind him. And that, Call of Duty did that very well. But they also had a really good multiplayer system where you run around and can one-shot guys with a knife. And I was super good at the original Modern Warfare multiplayer.
Before no-scoping became a thing.
Yeah. So it's
let me ask
so
you a
weird.
question, if I may.
Yeah.
Do you know what doesn't get talked about anymore, which unless it's in like a good way? Do you remember the mission No Russian?
Yes.
Yeah, the airport.
Right? That's essentially what I think was something where they tried to have that same angle that they're framing this as. That this No Russian glorifies mass shootings. And, nobody paid that any mind after a week. So
yeah, I mean, and also No Russian was a very contrived. Well, the thing with No Russian, it was a very contrived, made up scenario where you're CIA and you infiltrated a Russian terrorist group that was made up. But yeah, that didn't make anybody into a mass shooter. I don't know. Do video games make you want to kill people, Max? Maybe I'm desensitized a little bit.
I think they inevitably make you think about killing people. Yeah.
But,
I don't know if they make you want to do it more. I don't know. You could also say they're an outlet, but I think that they make you think about how you could kill people. Yes, I do. I think they make you think about that.
But should we deny the 99.999% of us that are able to go, wow,
humans are
interesting work of art, just to prevent one guy from killing a bunch of people?
No, obviously I don't think that. And also humans have been killing each other for a long time and thinking about it for a long time.
They were killing each other before you had a video game to let you do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's all very complicated. But the point is, I mean, my original point was this petition is silly. If you want to raise awareness, I don't know. If your petition wasn't aimed at the government, maybe I'd be like, all right, yeah, go nuts. But the problem is that the people spreading this petition around, which again is aimed at the government and basically wants censorship of the game. I mean, what else are you saying? You're saying don't make it at all.
Yeah, there needs to be another message.
If you won't stop making it, we're going to try to get the government to stop you from doing it. Which is the wrong message. And all the people talking about it, this guy compiled all the different people. We've got community manager at Unity. All right, I don't care about community managers or anything. They're nobody.
Because, I'm sure the government has this kind of time, right?
Jennifer Hale retweets it, says she signed it. There was
I like Jennifer Hale.
What does she do?
She is Shepard in Mass Effect.
No, well, she doesn't want you to leave. She wants the government to tell you to not make video games. I know there was a producer at a Humble Bundle, project manager at Sumo Digital. I don't care about QA testers. This guy collected.
Well, at a certain in liberal circles, we should
Yeah.
acknowledge that at a certain point, a cancellation reaches a critical mass. It starts sucking everybody into it, and if you do not become part of it, you suddenly start to stand out more and more as someone who didn't sign it. So I don't know that we actually know all these people in their heart of hearts really feel like this game should be shut down by the government. A lot of them are probably like, oh, everybody's retweeting this and signing this thing, I should do it too. Because if I don't, I'm in trouble.
But shouldn't we hold them accountable for signing a petition that says, "Dear U.S. government, I want you to censor my industry, a fragile industry which has been fighting against government censorship since its inception"? They have been censoring
Absolutely,
video
yes.
games.
It's almost worse that they're signing it without thinking about the implications. I'm just saying that it may be easier to push the tide back the other way if a lot of these people don't actually mean what they're saying. I don't know.
They probably
Well,
didn't
now
read
I
it.
feel bad for signing that Amber Heard petition to get her fired.
Well, she got fired, so what are you going to do? All right,
Yeah,
Moses,
I
thanks
really-
for coming by, man. Just so you know, if you would like to call in, there's a Discord link on your screen. I need to now post it, I realize, in the description of the stream because my stupid stream screwed up, and I hate everyone. Where is the description? Oh, this is such a nightmare. Look, if you want to get in... No, I got to put the link in there or else you're screwed. Let me go to Twitch and copy and paste it. In the meantime, let me bring on the great and the beloved Nickel AIDS. One nickel, get you some AIDS. Hey, Nickel AIDS, how you doing?
Hey, do you like nickels with AIDS?
This is this is the only kind of AIDS I like. Nickel AIDS,
Alright,
how you doing?
great. All right, we're talking about genociding Muslims.
Yes.
I got
They're going to take that out of context. You can't stream anymore, you know? You can't
I'm
stream.
great now. We hate Muslims.
What do we... Oh, no. Disavow. What do you call it?
Well, then,
They'll take you out of context in a minute just to get you fired. It's a whole thing.
I have
Anyway.
no job. Suck a dick.
Yeah. Well, that's the way to do it. What's on your mind, buddy? What are you thinking about?
Well, if they had problem with killing civilians, they would have banned Arma 3 by now. Insurgency Sunstorm, which is specifically a multiplayer game about this same thing, only it doesn't have civilians. Let's see. Mountain Blade, anyone, because you can enslave people. Any Total War, because one of the core mechanics of when you're taking a
Okay,
city.
but that's not the problem. The problem is that they're saying we're going to still have these characters be these dehumanized secondary non-playable characters that you shoot, but also they're real people. We're combining reality, documentary, and the dehumanization that's present in all video games. And we're going to say that you guys will just be the ones that are, unfortunately getting shot and will be the heroes and the main story of the game.
Well, presenting them as real heroes is the wrong thing. In my opinion, it is the wrong thing for sure, but you cannot do much about it since it's a video game. You cannot simply say
You're not the hero, but you're the main character.
I'm sorry, have you played The Last of Us Part 2?
All right with this, sure.
I'm serious.
I know,
It's
I
a
know.
perfect prototype. It is first of all, it's the game of the year. Second of all, it is the perfect prototype for exactly how to handle this situation. People didn't like it because they wanted it to be the more traditional, fictional, one-sided story. But if you were trying to tell a two-sided story, having arch nemesis on either sides of a war would be a good way to do it.
Who do you think's the bad guy in that game? Or are neither of them the bad guy?
I
Ellie's
think
the bad
it's
guy?
the bad guy. Vito is hate.
Both of
That's
them are the
true.
bad guy in Last of
They're
Us 2.
both the bad guy. That's true.
And I've said that I would like that game if it wasn't fucking comical, but it becomes comical. Again, there should not be zombies in it. If Last of Us 2 had gotten rid of the zombies, I would have liked it so much more. And they could have gotten rid of the zombies.
I agree.
Or at least they should be honest. They should be honest on you're gonna be traditionally the hero, the American hero, as they portrayed him on
They should be
the
off, yeah.
game.
I
And,
have found this Call of Duty mission, The Last Tiger, where you are a German tank man. I think this must be, what was the final battle for against the Russians? Stalingrad? Where did
no.
Hitler have his last stand?
Berlin.
Berlin? Okay, yeah, that makes more. No, wait, I thought it was. Yeah, I guess.
Right before, but
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I'm an idiot. For some reason, I thought it was in Russia, but no, it was Berlin. So this must be Berlin. Oh no, they're fighting Americans. Our job isn't done. We have to clear all the Americans out. So you're a Nazi tank commander taking out Americans. And
probably
game journalists, I remember, were very mad about this, or at least they had something to say about it. The Last Tiger. Let me see if I can find it.
See if Kotaku said something about
This
it.
was Battlefield. This was not Call of Duty. That's why I was having trouble finding it. Let's see. Battlefield 5's campaign tries to argue that World War II had very fine people on both sides.
That's true. I
That's the question. Is it possible to have been a noble Nazi?
Yeah.
You were fighting for the wrong side. Don't say yeah. They're going to clip that next.
Well, obviously, you don't. That's the whole That's the whole point of the military, is that you don't choose what you're doing.
Yeah.
You do what you're told.
Of a friend. Actually, it's not a story. It's just a fact. She's a German Greek, and her grandfather used to fight for the German Axis powers, but he ran away after right next to the end of it, and he started living in Greece. Is he a bad person?
Well, here's what we're talking.
He's not definitively a bad person. Depends on what he did. Just like all of us.
He wasn't a Nazi. He was just a German soldier.
Yeah, at a certain point, you have to look at what you're being told to do and decide for yourself whether you're going to do it. But if you're being lied to, I mean, you don't have.
They were lied to.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but the question is, what was the lie?
Everybody's lied to by their governments.
If the lie
all soldiers are lied to.
Right. Well, that's the question. Is like, how much responsibility do you bear for your government telling you, oh, by the way, all the Jews are part of a conspiracy to, to undermine our entire government? I mean, it's the same.
Right.
It's the exact same thing we're talking about with the Capitol attack or whatever you want to talk it. How much responsibility do you bear when your president tells you that democracy has been stolen,
and that you have to go get it back?
And you are the only one who can go get it back.
These would be excellent questions for this game to be asking. If the FAQ page were like, these are some of the questions we'll be exploring with this game, we would be totally on board.
I will say that they shouldn't make it like a Sunstorm, which is a co-op game and a multiplayer game. Multiplayer should be completely out of the question. Co-op should be completely out of the question. Again, it should be only a campaign game, and it shows the stories.
Yes.
Only that.
Agreed.
After that, there should be at least, or during the campaign, there should be cutscenes that shows the wear and tear that that the psyches of these soldiers have, for sure, but also the wear and tear of civilians, or even the enemy side per se, or translators. There are many translators who were Iraqis, but they were working with the American forces to save them. There are many stories about them.
Yeah. There's so much interesting that can be covered, and we want games to cover that sort of thing. And again, I want to talk about this article where I think game journalists for some reason don't want that to happen. Anyway, Nicolaides, I'm going to read this article. Thanks for coming by, man.
See ya.
I love you. All right, so here was an article. This is from when? This is from 2018, from the great Sam Barsanti of AV Club. This week, EA released The Last Tiger, the final mission for Battlefield 5 single-player campaign. Unlike the rest of the game, which has you fighting Nazis from various perspectives, The Last Tiger actually puts you in the boots of a German tank commander trying to defend Western Germany from an American invasion. And now here they immediately gets political. It's an odd choice considering the recent rise of far-right fanatics in the political world. Should that limit you as a storyteller at all? No.
No,
Fuck
you
those
should not
guys.
be. That is the exact thing that people hate, is the idea that while you're making your game, you're thinking, but I want to steer the minds of the political views of my audience. So I have to think about how I want to do that. That's the thing they're constantly being accused of doing.
Say more things while I text this guy real quick. No, hold on. All right, I'm done.
Basically, the article is telling you that you should be brainwashing your audience.
Or that your audience,
telling a
again,
story to make
is
them
too
think
stupid.
something. Yeah, that they're on the edge of becoming a Nazi themselves.
I mean, to be fair, people are stupid, but I can't imagine playing as a tank commander. Like, what are you going to get out of this? Like a tank commander? Or are you going to go, yeah, those Nazis had a good point? No, you're just going to ride a tank around and maybe just see another side of the war, I hope. I'm telling Dick Masterson all that I'm going to come over his house and get drunk later. We're going to play GoldenEye. All right, so it's an odd choice. Okay, to be fair, he goes, but video games are no different from any other medium. They should be able to tell stories from controversial perspectives just like a film would. All right, Sam bought himself back a little goodwill. Of course, if games want to be respected like other mediums, they'll have to do a lot better than The Last Tiger. Well, I can imagine Battlefield didn't tell the best story. Mueller never stops blindly following orders until the last second of the story when it becomes clear the German army has abandoned them, the Americans are closing in, and the tank crew is fucked. The driver runs off and gets shot in the back by your gunner for disrespecting the master race, prompting Mueller to remove the iron cross around his neck in disgust and surrender, which leads the gunner to shoot him as well. Sounds pretty interesting to me. It's clear this is meant to be an indictment of the fascist ideology, but there's some on-screen text about how countless real-life German soldiers refused to surrender that is presented in a way that implies it was somehow heroic. I mean, the problem with writing this huge article, oh God, he talks about, it was August of last year when the standing U.S. president said there's very fine people on both sides after someone hit a girl with a car in Charlottesville. That has nothing to do with this. Does that have anything to do with this?
I mean, it can have to do with the context of his reaction, but that quote from Trump is always kind of mishandled or misunderstood.
When Trump
it's not really
that,
what he said.
And I hate Trump. Trump was talking about the guys who showed up, you know, with Confederate flags, just good old Southern boys or whatever.
Well, I think if you have,
those guys suck too. But like,
I think if you have a Confederate flag, I can't say that at the moment that you're
better
with
than a Nazi.
flag,
You are better than a Nazi. Don't even hum and ha. They put it in the fucking Dukes of Hazzard. It's a symbol that a lot of people took to mean I'm a good old Southern boy. I like drinking. I like hitting my wife. Whatever.
That's true.
Okay,
That's
and
true.
then gradually they started to
I
discover
disagree
the
with
true
the
problem.
people who are waving the flag about what it actually means.
I can't hear you because I unplugged my microphone. Talk again.
I'm saying I probably disagree with the people who are waving the flag about what it actually means. So that's fair. The Nazi flag is pretty non-ambiguous about what it.
Anyone
what it means.
waving a Nazi flag is not like, I just like the way they structured their, subway system or whatever. No, it's like pretty clear. Like, I hate certain types of people.
That's true.
Whereas I even think there's guys who are waving that American flag who I'm sure have racial biases or whatever else, but I think mostly they're just like, I love living in the South, I love hunting, I love drinking. You know, it seems like
I would say it is very likely they have racial biases.
Yeah, well, welcome to America, baby. I think we all got some of those. Hashtag stop Asian hate, Max.
I having a Confederate flag that is going to make your black neighbor, if you have one,
feel uncomfortable,
more than uncomfortable, like
feel
horrified. Yeah, I feel like that's more than just the average racial bias.
What have you done to stop Asian hate today, Max? I called up every Panda Express in the phone book, and I said thank you for your service.
Somebody commented on my video about my satirical articles, calling them racist, and I am being thoughtful before I respond.
Yeah.
And one of them was a satire about Asians, and I didn't make fun of this person. I didn't get defensive. I'm going to sit on it, and I'm going to think of a kind, thoughtful response. And that's what I did today.
Satire is
didn't speak.
impossible. You can't. They won't let you do satire.
Well, satire, that's the thing about satire, though, is that you have to have some people who don't get it, or else it's not funny. If everybody gets it, it's not funny. So I would argue that this is the perfect time to do satire, because you need a good chunk of people to flip the fuck out, and they're ready.
But here's what I think the problem is. I think people do know that it's satire and don't care, and that's the problem.
That's fair.
Like the people who
they're just saying you shouldn't be joking about this.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
We know you're not
joke
actually
about
racist.
this.
You're just insensitive.
I mean, there was that.
But I think then you gotta just be more subtle.
Or maybe just go full on with it. I wanted to make some really insensitive racial Asian jokes today, and I can't. Jay Leno apologized for all his Asian jokes, and I'm like, comedy's dead. You can't make Asian jokes. Come on, it's satire.
I do think
Asian.
there's a weird thing where it's okay to make fun of how like Germans talk, but not how Chinese people talk. There's something kind of racist
make
about
fun
that.
of how Italians talk. Ah, buca de pepe. I'm making a pizza pie. Okay, like any white or like sweet Hurgen Durgen Shurgen Durgen. But for some reason, that's what people don't understand. I mean, with Apu from The Simpsons, you go to any other country, they'll make fun of your American accent. You know, accents are fun. They're funny. It's not funny in a mean-spirited way. It's funny in a, oh, well, this is different. It has a sing-songy quality to it. Why do you think all the top YouTubers are foreign? Why do you think PewDiePie is so popular?
It's just delicious to listen to.
PewDiePie is popular specific because you hear his voice and you go, that's kind of fun the way they talk. If PewDiePie had a normal English accent, you would not care.
I was thinking a couple of weeks ago of recreating a PewDiePie video shot for shot and word for word, but in an American accent, and like just to showing
how boring it would be.
Yeah, just like very weird.
We're playing Minecraft today.
Right.
It's me, PewDiePie. I play the Minecraft. Yeah. I don't even know how to do his accent.
It's pretty
anyway, let's take some calls, and look, if people want to talk about there's other topics we can bring up, of course. I just thought this one was pretty interesting. I want to talk to Dead Dreams. Dead Dreams, how you doing? I think you're not doing very well because you're silent. We'll come back to you. Send me a message if you get your mic fixed up. Let's talk to Will. Wheaton. How you doing, Will?
Will Wheaton.
Will Wheaton. Say whip.
Hello, Vito.
Hey, but now say Cool Whip. Cool Whip.
Cool Whip. Cool Whip.
Hey,
Brian, why are you talking about that Cool Whip?
Hey, that's pretty good. That is a surprisingly good.
Oh, thank you. Vito, why you talk about that Cool Whip?
Why you talk about the Cool Whip? What's on your mind?
Okay.
What's on your mind, Will?
Not much. My birthday was yesterday, so there's that.
Oh, happy birthday! Did you get any good presents?
No, not really.
No.
It was a very cool birthday. Just chilling out by myself.
That's the best kind of birthday, enjoying yourself.
Yeah. Played some, just
hanging out. I was gonna say, you been any news on your mind? Anything going on?
Let's see here. Not really.
Yeah, just coming by to say hi.
What's this whole thing about the
Fallujah? Well, I don't want to re-explain it. Okay, that was Will, who does not have anything to talk about, which is fine. Just we're gonna get somebody who does. Who just sent me a message saying they have something to say? Eclipse of Fire Productions. I don't know what your username is. You can't tell me you're ready to talk, and then I don't know what your username is. Dead Dreams, you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can hear you, buddy. Great. Now
I think he's listening to the stream, so there's going to be a delay.
Are you listening to the stream? Turn the stream off.
Oh
my god. Oh my god. Good work, Dead Dreams. You're ruining everything. Let's talk to Sky Commander, who I know knows how a
Oh my
microphone works.
god, it's like
There we go.
Oh. Okay, I'm gonna say the rude thing that Vito can't say because he's the host. If you don't have something relevant to bring to the call, don't fucking try to be on it. I'm sorry.
Tommy C has a nuke button that he presses when. It was hilarious. I was watching him the other day, and a guy comes on. The guy donated money. He's like, all right, what do you got to say? He's like, I just want to, first of all, I want to say, Tommy, I'm a big fan of the show. I've been watching the show for so long. Nobody wants to hear. No one wants to hear that you're a fan of the show.
Oh God! They just want to hear themselves talking. They want to hear.
Pretend you're not talking to me. Pretend you're talking exclusively to my audience, if that makes sense.
God. But yeah,
Sky
actually,
Commando, what are you thinking about?
I'm thinking about 6 Days in Fallujah, and there's a lot of stuff that can be talked about. Like, I actually met an Afghanistan interpreter today. I was actually very interesting how this coincided today. I was at a local military museum, and I chatted with them for quite a while. And they were shafted by the U.S. military a lot. Like, they were promised they'd get a U.S. citizenship in exchange for being interpreters and guides and all that. And a lot of them were never able to go to Afghanistan. But he was.
That would be a good story.
That would be a good story.
But as for 6 days,
we're not here.
We were discussing the aspects of seeing views that were not shown, like the Nazis during World War II, like the German soldiers. And you were talking about how you want to be an insurgent, and you were sort of equating them to just freedom fighters who were just defending a country that was invaded. A lot of the insurgents were Ba'athist loyalists that were mostly only loyal to Saddam and his regime rather than to the country itself. A lot of the actual Iraqi military bailed at the moment they could and surrendered to U.S. forces at a drop of a hat.
But if you're indoctrinated to that point, wouldn't you think that loyalty to Saddam is loyalty to Iraq?
Well, I mean, Saddam was also gassing the Kurds constantly with nerve gas, so it's not like it's sort of like loyalty to Hitler. You're equating these people are essentially the Nazis of the Middle East.
So show me that. But show me that. Give me a game where I'm a fucking horrible, brainwashed moron.
They're not.
That's why constantly saying I love Saddam. Make a game where I'm a Nazi and I just go, Hitler's got all the right ideas. He's got those trains running on time. I love Hitler.
Well, you can't do you.
Damn it! They're gonna take that out of context. I don't love Hitler. Damn it!
People immediately equate that to you supporting that. And it's just history is never black and white as it appears to be. No matter what kind of person you are still a human being that has that level of intrinsic thought and differences in emotion and views.
See, but I want a game that challenges that idea. A game that shows me how I could very easily have been the worst of the worst. How I could have been gassing the Kurds, and what would have had to happen to me to make me think that was a good idea. What did I see or experience that makes me think that's what I have to do?
And there's even times where you can show that there were levels of gray, like Spec Ops: The Line shows levels of gray as it slowly gets darker and darker. And in real life, there's things such as are either of you aware of the battle for Castle Eider? I'll summarize it really, really quickly. Essentially, there was a castle in Germany that had a bunch of political prisoners in it. SS moved into the area. This was towards the very end of the war. They were going to kill everyone in the prison and everybody in the village below it just for good measure. A local German the Wehrmacht, which was separate from the SS, heard about the plan, did not like it. The officers got in a little truck and moved to the nearest American lines and asked for help. And it was German soldiers, American soldiers, and a bunch of French politicians versus an entire battalion of SS soldiers. But you've never heard of that because it implies that the Germans were not necessarily all
there was
evil.
There was the good Nazi, the myth of the good Nazi, as they call it.
There was a high-ranking Nazi member in China who saved thousands of lives of Chinese nationals while the Japanese were running around killing and doing terrible things to the Chinese populace.
Well, the question with the Nazis is always, how much did your average soldier know? Did your average soldier
that is debatable
know?
Depending on which units it were. Some units had no idea. Other units were completely complicit.
I don't know. I think some historians would say every Nazi knew that Jews were being shipped off somewhere for some reason.
Also, there's a difference between what were Nazis and what were just the regular German Wehrmacht. And some of the Wehrmacht units were were complicit. A lot of the early Wehrmacht units did take part in the early purges of Jewish and other minority groups. But for the most part, it was the SS who were like if you were in the SS, you were a hardcore Nazi member. But if you were in the Wehrmacht, you were not necessarily a Nazi. That was the regular
were some weirdo farmer who got conscripted.
Yeah, you were conscripted, and that's who you were. If you were in the SS, you asked to join it. You weren't conscripted into the SS. You joined it.
Yeah,
unless you were in the Weiler division. Which
and all of this again, I want video games to. That's the problem we have with this Fallujah game. Is like I've seen the American side of these things, and the idea that you're going to tell me, oh, we've never seen the story of the brave American soldier in Iraq. All right, but I mean, what do you want me to do? You want me to like glorify war? Like I thought we have a society have gotten to the point where like, look, man, war's a job. Being a soldier's a job. Like,
yeah,
you do your job good. Congratulations.
Super weird.
And you put your life on the line for your buddy. Like, yeah, that's commendable. But ultimately, like, I don't really want to take sides, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although people immediately politicize it, and it's like they try to portray the events completely as if they immediately put up the numbers of like how many civilians died in the battle, and all I could think of as a history major is how much restraint the U.S. tried to show in the battle. Because do you realize how much we could have flattened that place,
right,
if we had truly wanted to? We dropped more bombs in one mission in Vietnam than we dropped on Germany during the entirety of World War II.
Yeah, Vietnam was a war of excess, to be sure.
And there's actually a lot of I'm sorry, I'm boring Mr. Girl heavily. I just see him checking the Twitter.
No, he's just making sure everybody likes him.
I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing.
No, I don't want to explain what I was doing, but it wasn't out of boredom.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Texting his girlfriend there. She sent you a pretty picture. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Well, I mean, here's what it ultimately comes down to. Both me and Mr. Girl believe that video games need to start taking some risks in terms of storyline. I've played space shooters. I've played war shooters. Are they an art form though? Because they haven't proved it yet. Very few games to me have proved that video games could potentially be art. And the rest of them, again, like Call of Duty and the fucking Zombies multiplayer, have compromised whatever artistic vision they might have to be like, yeah, but people just want to fight zombies. It's like, well, why don't you just go make a fucking zombies video game then, and not make it Call of Duty? Like, these are compromised pieces of art at the very least. They're compromised. Even Last of Us 2 is compromised. I know Max thinks it's God's gift to creation, but it's compromised in a lot of ways. The zombies being the most obvious fucking form. It's a commercial product. I mean, but even movies are compromised.
And I find that ironic.
You can't tell, like,
yeah, because that game is probably one of the greatest deconstructions of modern warfare and the thought process of a larger.
I've never beaten Spec Ops: The Line. I need to actually play the whole
At one
thing.
point, the game slowly, basically, from what I remember, you're a squad of soldiers trying to move through this map. Abu Dhabi or whatever, and it gets worse and worse. You keep having to make rougher and rougher decisions, and at some point, you end up calling in white phosphorus on a group of civilians. And depending on your choices, you either know that they are, or you just do it without thinking, and then you are forced to see the repercussions of your actions.
Oh man, I'm gonna bring up that scene right now. Let's spoil it. I don't want a reaction. Yeah. Max, I want to ask you, because I posit it to you. Do you think Last of Us 2 is a compromised piece of art?
No.
No.
I would say the first Last of Us was art. I wouldn't call the second game one either. Sorry, I interrupted you, Mr. Girls.
No, that's.
I think Mr. Girl would argue with you. And well, do you think they're both equal? Both Last of Us games? Do you think both Last of Us are equal pieces of art?
I think they're different.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. The first one is a very traditional piece
first one does
of
not
very
take,
good storytelling.
Yeah, storytelling risks in any real way.
But it does tell a good story.
It does. It at the end it takes a couple risks, but generally it is just a really good story, a really straightforward story with really good dialogue.
Yeah.
And
it's not even an interesting story, really. It's just good. The second one is a deconstruction meta commentary on video games and on hatred and violence and relationships and a commentary on the first one in a way. So if you're into extremely unpleasant like meta game about the game that you're playing and trying to make you feel bad about playing it, but also enjoying murdering people, the second one's great.
Yeah, although I would argue that the second one with what the other side, not Ellie, I forget her name already.
Abby.
Abby, her side is almost laughable at times. At just the fucking, oh my god. Like I did not play the game. I will admit that. I watched a walkthrough. I watched multiple walkthroughs of it, entire playthroughs, because I don't buy games at all. I watch.
Oh, you enjoy them through the. Well, maybe that's interesting.
Yeah, and I don't listen to the other. I listen to blind. I watch blind.
You watch blind playthroughs with no.
Yeah,
commentary.
I don't listen to their commentary. I just watch raw footage.
Just wait till it's free on PS Plus.
I don't know, man. Maybe that's a fair way to experience it as a movie.
Yeah, I experienced it as a movie
reasonable
because
experience.
Yeah, and I'm sorry if that upset you, but it's just I don't buy games.
My feelings are my feelings. I can handle being upset. I'm a big boy.
All right, good.
I just think Last of Us 2.
If they had not made Abby so laughable in some aspects with her decision making, I would have been more able to view it as more of a neutral hate is hate thing. Or just,
what decision making?
Oh, just. Like
can't
not just decision making, but like it's been a while. I'm sorry, I'd have to go.
You
back
remember
and,
how you felt, but you don't know why you felt it.
Yes, that sums up my views.
You were like, why do I gotta play as a woman? Is what I think you were thinking, right?
Your decision to be a woman.
Yeah, I see people are waving to each other on video chat right now. Where did all these people come from? We got a chat popping all of a sudden. All right, Sky Commando, I'm gonna bring on some more people.
Oh yeah. Stay hydrated, everybody. Good night.
Good seeing you. Look at all these people.
Good night, man.
Where'd everybody come from all of a sudden? Is this stream popping off? We ain't got that many viewers. What was I gonna say to you, Mr. Girl? Again, I just think Last of Us 2 needed to strip out the game aspect of it. Get rid of the bullet scavenger hunt. Get rid of the zombies. Get rid of
Okay, that's fair, but I feel like the game pisses you off. And this is like, yes, it could be more streamlined. It could be pared down. Those are fair, but
people are making the wrong criticisms about it, and that's what pisses me off.
So you're more pissed off at the people who talk about Last of Us 2 than you are at Last of Us 2.
Maybe. I'd have to think about it. Shut up. Don't think you just made a great point.
I don't think I made a great point. Only you can decide if it was great, Vito.
The problem is that it knows it's setting an industry standard. And I think if you're setting an industry standard, you need to be you need to think about what that is and why. And ultimately it comes down to, it's about a little girl who eats 50 pills to learn how to build a sniper rifle, as I always say. There's some comedy in it that you have to admit to. Mr. Max asked us a great question. Max Goldbrack says, if you and Mr. Girl were making a video game, would you consider basing it on super serious real-world historical events? Well, I think we've said yes, both of us. Absolutely.
Definitely. I think you could make video games. I think video games are a good empathy tool. That's one thing I like about Last of Us 2. It makes you... maybe it was not successful at this broadly. Well, I don't know. Maybe it was. But it challenges you to empathize with someone that you fucking hate. That's like the whole point of the game. And I think that you could make games about all kinds of... I mean, in a way, like, I think Grand Theft Auto has definitely accomplished making people empathize with black people who may not have otherwise done so.
Yeah, I totally think something like San Andreas, just like being a black guy in the hood, hanging out with your buddies. And like I kind of like black people now. I mean, I don't know exactly what that experience was, but...
It's cartoonish, but it puts you in someone else's shoes. And then, like foreign people. There's never been a woman playable character that I know of, maybe in some DLC in a Grand Theft Auto game. I would like to see that. But
you know what I'm realizing is I can put collars on and actually put them on screen, but I won't do that without telling them. But let's bring on Ethnos. Oh wait, what was I gonna say? I want to make a video game where you're Rasputin and you have to seduce the Russian queen. I think that's what people want. Let's talk to. Sorry, Ethnos. I put him on screen for a second. Ethnos, hello. How are you?
Hi, how you doing, Vito?
I'm doing okay. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling all right. I've had a rough few weeks, but I think I'm doing okay.
Yeah. Well, what's on your mind, buddy? What are you thinking tonight?
Well, what I kind of want to talk to you about is universal basic income. That's what I want.
Nice.
To talk about.
Nice.
Now,
Let me bring up my boy Yang. Go ahead.
Now, the first thing I want to clarify is if you're looking at my camera, this is not a Trump flag. This is a Biden flag.
I'll bring you up real quick. There he is.
Oh, you bring me up? All right.
Yeah,
cool.
I see your Biden flag.
Hi, people.
Hi, everybody.
So basically, I have a different idea when it comes to UBI. I have a different idea than Yang.
Okay.
And the reason why is because I think we're tackling two different issues. So what Yang is trying to tackle is automation, and dealing with people who are losing their jobs due to automation.
Yeah.
The issue that I want to tackle is the welfare state. So for people who don't know about the welfare state and its atrocities, it's basically unintentionally designed to keep people poor. So with Medicaid, for example, the federal government is only required to cover for your insurance up to $28,000, and after that, it's no longer required to pay for you. There's no nuance or no like waning you off the Medicaid. It's all or nothing. For example, my dad has a friend who is a single mom of a disabled child. Now, she was trying to live the American dream, working hard, get out of poverty, all that good stuff. The issue is that when she had a job and her boss loved her and she got a promotion, she was like, "Sweet, I have extra money."
But once you make too much money, you can't get Medicare anymore, right? That's what we're talking about. Right.
That's what we're talking about. So she eventually had to go to her boss and tell her to fire her and rehire her at the previous spot.
Right. So it needs to be a gradation. It needs to be if you're making more money, you get a certain amount of Medicaid, and if you're making too much money, you don't get any.
But the issue with that specifically, is that Medicaid already sucks even when it does work, because it makes healthcare more expensive for everyone else. Doctors try not to deal with Medicaid patients because the return on investment is really low. Like, so for example, if they get a regular patient and they come and pay them money, they get money they almost get money instantly. But with Medicaid,
but they get it from the government, they get less. Sure.
They get less, and it takes months for them to get that.
To get approved.
So yeah. Medicaid
so what do you want to
sucks.
do with universal basic income? What is your solution?
My solution is twofold. First, what we do is I think as a base give people $2,000 a year, not 1,000 but 2,000.
Okay.
The reason why I say per month.
Okay.
So
2,000 a month. Well, that's a big jump. Okay.
Yes,
but then scale it down as they make more money.
Yes, do that. I have an equation so where as people make more money, they make less UBI. Once they hit $70,000, they no longer make UBI, but their total income between the UBI and the and their income.
So when you say 2,000 a month as a baseline, if you're making over 70K, do you get that or no?
No. So like as you go up and
you get less and less UBI.
Yeah, until eventually once you hit 70,000, you get 0 UBI.
Yeah, I mean, all this is all I mean, the numbers are gonna fluctuate. I don't know if Yang wants what, $1,000 a month. Is that what he says?
He wants $1,000 a month to everyone on top of what people are making for Medicaid and Social Security.
I thought he said it would be a replacement for Medicaid and Social Security.
No, when I watch some of the podcasts he does, it would be on top of that. But what I would do is I would eliminate Medicaid and then eliminate Social Security and then use that money to pay for the UBI. But then I estimate that this would cost about $1 trillion. Social Security and Medicaid would be about 1.5 trillion.
Well,
so then we
the problem with
federal income tax by 20%.
Social Security is interesting because The problem is you give somebody UBI long enough. First of all, you'd have to phase it out because there's people who haven't had UBI for whatever, so they're gonna be like, I wasn't getting $2,000 a month. I still need that Social Security, so you're gonna have to phase that out if you do that.
Well, the issue
go
with
ahead.
that is I actually disagree with that because the average person on Social Security makes $1,500. If you're
So
retired,
they'd be getting as
you're
much. Yeah, they'd be getting as much regardless.
If you're retired, you're making zero. You would be eligible for the 2000.
Okay, so you're getting the top rate. That's
right.
fair.
The majority
That's
of people
fair.
would be getting a raise.
That makes sense. Well, you know, the thing is, I don't even think Yang's numbers are finalized, and I think Yang's actually being conservative just to get people on board. The thing about UBI is it's unpopular for a number of reasons. One of which is the old American, if you ain't working, you ain't living. You know, get your boots dirty, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. We got to get away from that thinking. The value of a man is not the value of a hard day's work because there ain't no jobs to go around, and work can be redefined. Taking care of your kid is work. You know, just making the people around you smile, I think, is valuable. So we're going to have to redefine what work is. The problem is a lot of people go, no, either you pick rocks off the side of the road or you're useless to me. But I think Yang has been very conservative with what he's trying to give away just because you say $1,000 a month. It doesn't sound too unreasonable, I think. I think he probably wants to give people more. And, you know, he's just like, well, let's get the bare minimum passed and go up from there. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, when it comes to Yang, I mean, the first few things when you say like pick yourself up by your bootstraps when you get away from that thinking, I'm generally fine with that thinking in a way where people work, they work hard, and then they climb the ladder. I'm fine with that. The issue is that
if they want to, though, what if you come across someone who doesn't want to work? Do you have a problem with that person?
Well, I mean, that's their choice, and if they decide they don't want to work and they fall behind, that's on them.
Yeah, but they're still getting $2,000 a month. If they're happy with the $2,000 a month, are you happy with them being an American and taking that money?
Well, no, I wouldn't. I would say that if you're unemployed for more than for about 90 days, then you would be no longer eligible.
You wouldn't be eligible for UBI after 90 days?
Like if you're not, so 3 months. If you're no longer employed, then you wouldn't be eligible because you have to work to get it. That's why unless you're retired.
I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I think you should just give everybody $2,000 a month. I mean,
that's not UBI. That's unemployment.
Yeah, that's basically unemployment you're talking about at that point. I think the whole point of UBI is like, listen, man, if it's a single mom who's got 3 kids, I don't need her to be working at McDonald's. I would rather her kids be raised in an environment where they're going to grow up and hopefully be productive members of society, or just comfortable, or whatever else. The point is that I think there's greater values to the American system than just everybody. I mean, let's put it this way. Let's say we got robots to flip all the hamburgers. Are you going to be mad about it? Are you going to be like, I wish there was that lady was in there flipping the hamburgers for me? No, we should embrace automation. We should be happy that the robots are flipping hamburgers. And if there's not enough jobs to go around, then okay, then you give everybody a little bit of money to take care of their kids and whatever else. And I think that's ultimately the psychology experiment we need. Psychological experiment people need to wrap their heads around is that I think, again, somebody who's just living their life, not hurting anybody, and hopefully, I don't know, bringing a smile to the people around you. I hate to say it, I think that has value. Or jobs that don't pay money, don't generate revenue, like a kid's youth softball coach. You're not really making a ton of money doing it, but you're making so many kids' lives better. Shouldn't that guy be able to be a youth softball coach and just know he's going to have a stable income regardless?
And if he's doing that and he's working, and he has the UBI on top of that, he absolutely could do that.
Yeah, but what if it's a volunteer position? You know, what if it's a volunteer thing? Like, so he's working, but he's not working in generating revenue.
Okay, so the first thing that I kind of back there is that when you say with that, there were more jobs than there were people to work those jobs. Using 2019 numbers because 2020 was weird.
Okay, 2019
so I think that's fair.
Job well, wouldn't there be more vacancies now than ever? Or I know because everything's closing.
But that's weird. That's why I'm trying not to use pandemic numbers because that's weird.
Sure.
But you know, I'm not a big Trump guy, as you can see from my Biden flag. But the one thing I'll give him is he was good with the economy, and he he had a job surplus. In 2018, 2019, something like that.
Yeah.
And we
well, I'd
also
love to
know
see
that,
those numbers.
And also we know that when automation comes, there's always more jobs that are made than so like as we lose jobs, there's new jobs that are made because there's like new positions available because we need new stuff for that technology. So but now the
question
barrier
is,
to entry will be higher.
Yeah. But what are these jobs and what do they pay? Because I don't like the idea that like
we don't know yet.
Well, no, but like the idea that Walmart's got a bunch of open positions paying minimum wage and refusing to pay overtime or whatever else. Like, yeah, maybe there's jobs available, but those jobs suck. Like, I don't want to tell somebody like, well, just take a shitty job because that's your lot in life, buddy.
Well, yeah, but also once again, if you go to school, or you don't even have to go to school, or like a university, you can go to like vocational school. There's a lot of opportunities to not be doing that.
Okay, what if you don't go to what if you don't go to vocational school? What if you're dumb? Should dumb people suffer more than rich people?
All right, so here's my response to that. There's three. I'm sure you've seen the statistic. It's kind of famous or infamous, depending on what you think about this. There's three things you need to be a middle class American in the U.S. right now.
Right. Don't have kids, get married, or whatever. Right.
Right. So if you're dumb, do those things. You'll be fine.
So if you have kids, do you deserve to have a less standard of life?
Not necessarily. And once again, this
you just used it as justification. You just used it as justification. You said, well, if you want a good life, don't have a kid. Okay,
it's not don't have kids. It's don't have kids until you're financially ready. It's basically until you're the age of 21.
So if somebody has kids before they're 21, you think that, well, you deserve it because that's the law you've put yourself in.
I think that they've made a mistake in terms of, not necessarily in terms of like the kid is a negative, because I think life is always a positive, but in the terms of a financial standpoint, you did make a mistake and you should own up to that mistake. Sure.
I don't think that there's any reason that someone who has a kid before they turn 21, for whatever reason, people get pregnant, okay? It's not like people don't have sex, and maybe your condom breaks or whatever else, and you're not the kind of person who either can afford an abortion or wants to get an abortion because of religious reasons or whatever else. I don't see why there's a reason I need to tell that person, well, it's your fault, and now live a shittier life than everybody else. I think it should just be like,
I don't necessarily agree with that, hence why I'm okay with a UBI.
Yeah, but you're saying UBI is based on employment status, and after 90 days you're going to take it away. I don't even think we need to do that.
I do think we need to do that, Vito, because
I think welfare is fantastic.
Well,
and
the idea of welfare is fantastic.
Well, if you love welfare, then why do you want to take it away after 90 days? Wouldn't UBI be welfare?
Because the reason why I want to do that is because, as we kind of know with just socialism in general, its big downfall is that it decentralizes marketplaces, and I'm trying to fix that as well. The point is to fix the latter, so to speak. So if people decide they want to get out of the hole they're in, they can more easily, because we're getting rid of this welfare trap. And on top of that, this would lift burden off the middle class as well. So
I think that people on welfare don't necessarily want to be on welfare. I think they have an incentive.
Exactly.
No, but I think they have already an incentive to try and get off it, which is everybody wants the American dream. Everybody wants to move up in life. But I want to tell people, listen, man, even if you're at the bottom, we're going to do everything we can to take care of you because you're a human being. And I don't know, we're going to give you a box to live in and some government cheese to eat. It seems like the barest necessity to me. We're also not going to force you, again, to take on a job where you're working. That's the other problem. To afford rent in America, you got people who got to work 2 jobs, work 60 hours. It seems like an unfair system.
Rare.
Is it?
But if you
want, I mean, if you want an apartment to yourself, I mean, yeah, if you pack 6 people in an apartment or whatever, or if you got 2 incomes in an apartment, if you're a single person, you want an apartment to yourself because you ain't got anybody else.
But like this idea that there's a ton of people out there who are working like 3 jobs to all pay for their rent is kind of a myth. But I want to kind of get back to the kind of to this.
Well, I want to give you the final word because I think I got to bring some more callers on. So, what is your final word on this?
Gosh, I have a lot to say, but
well, we can't talk about it all day.
Yeah, I know. I got you. So I'm just trying to. I'll condense it down. I got you, Vito. Don't worry.
All right.
Basically, one of the biggest issues we face in America is the welfare trap. It's designed to keep people poor, and that wasn't the intention. That's just kind of how it's happened. And so both people kind of have this idea that on both sides that we either need to expand it or shrink it. Neither's going to work because you're fundamentally trying to use the same system. I think we need a better system to try and help people instead of just keeping people poor.
All right. I think that's reasonable. I think we want the best for people, and that's what's important. Thank you, Ethanos.
Yes. Thank you very
for
much,
making things heard. Ethanos. All right.
There we go.
Go get that Infinity Gauntlet of whatever you want to call it, of universal basic income. Mr. Girl is taking a breather. How you doing, Mr. Girl?
I'm okay. Just having some back issues, so I thought,
there's nothing wrong with that.
If you can do the work sitting lying down, might as well indulge a little bit.
There he is. Looking good, buddy. Let's bring on, Goaty McGoatface gave me $5 to come on, which I hate to say it is a fantastic tactic. So let's talk to Goaty. Goaty, you there, buddy?
He was so excited yesterday.
What's up?
How's it? Oh, hold on. Say some words.
All right. Had some political.
Hold on. Your mic sucks. Can you turn it up at all?
You're super quiet.
All right.
Are you on Windows?
On 4.
In Discord, you can turn it up if
I turned him up to 200. It never does anything though.
No, I mean he can turn himself up.
And he lost.
Go to that user settings thing. Where's the microphone? Tell you what, figure it out and we'll get back to you. All right, Goaty?
Yeah.
Figure out how to make your microphone louder. Let's talk to Raptor. I'm putting. If you put your video on in the chat, you're gonna show up. So that's what happens. I have to unmute him too. Where is he? There we are. Raptor, you there?
Whoa, Vito, big fan of the show.
How's it going? You don't gotta say you're a big fan, you motherfucker.
I know.
What's going on, buddy?
Hey,
that's a callback. Good callback, buddy. I like that. What's on your mind, my friend?
First of all, to kind of like to touch on what the last guy said real briefly, like I don't think that if you're a young adult, or a full-grown adult, and you have to work a job like Walmart, I don't think you have to live in poverty. If you're gonna work your ass off, I think you should have enough money to like live and not be suffering every day of your damn life.
I'm okay with the government if you're working at Walmart. I mean, I think he even said, if you work a job, you get a certain amount of government assistance. You would get some UBI to help fill in the gaps, which,
right.
Yeah, would be great. That's the thing with right now is, like, if you don't want to get a job at Walmart, I get it. I don't want a job at Walmart either. Now, if I had a job at Walmart and I'm still getting some assistance from the government on top of it, okay, well, maybe that would make it okay.
And on that same note, what Walmart is doing is, I'm sure you've seen it, like they actually, like when you get hired there, they walk you through like how to sign up for like assistance,
right?
Government
because they know they pay you so shittily,
and they can get away with it. Like they can, fluff their own profits by not paying you and pass the buck to the taxpayers and the government.
I'll say this: I think a lot of senators have Walmart stock and are fully aware of this wonderful scam that they're running. I don't know if you've ever seen the pictures where they have the food drive, the canned food drive at the Walmart, and it'll be like, please donate food to help our Walmart employees. And you're like, why don't you give them the fucking food? Are you kidding me? It's how awful is that? Donate food items here so associates can enjoy Thanksgiving dinner. Aren't you embarrassed, Walmart? Doesn't that embarrass you to have that? Ay.
Oh, Walmart. But Vito, the main reason, thanks for having me on. The thing I want to say is, so I'm a Brown fan viewer living in Los Angeles. I'm
fantastic. I don't want to kill you or your people, my Brown fan. Unlike what society says about white people, we don't all want to kill you and your people. Just the worst of us.
Oh, well, I believe you. But so as someone who supports you, and I see the kind of fire you come under. I just wanted to come on and say, Vito, as your friend, just right now, now's not a good time to be like throwing out too many of the hard hitting Asian jokes right now. It's a little too.
I
hot
know.
right now.
I can't do it, and I have so many good ones.
I know, man, and don't get me wrong. Like, I think comedians, I think they should be like basically protected class. They should be able to talk on things that average people can't.
Wait. Are you saying this because you're concerned about Vito, or you're concerned about the Asians, or both?
Both.
Which is one of those primarily driving your comment?
I would say right now.
Do I have a responsibility as a comedian to help stop Asian hate?
Or are you trying to help Vito, or are you trying to say?
I see a question.
Yeah.
I see a question. I think that because I look at my own viewership and why I like Vito, it's because he is kind of like in the center and speaking to what I think needs to be more of what America should be about instead of these polar opposites. I think he's in a position where what he says can influence people in that center, and right now is not the time for joking. So
there's a responsibility for me to take it seriously and say that is Asian hate.
This is an intervention.
I don't want to show up and be the one to say, "Hey, Vito, knock it off." That's
exactly what you're saying, and I require that you admit that's what you're saying.
That's Mr. Girl saying it. I'm not going to require you to do anything. Mr. Girl, can you center your face in the camera right now? Is that possible?
Is that better?
Let me see. Probably not.
Okay.
All I see is your microphone. I have to switch. I have to switch between people. So
my camera's too high.
I mean, look at the screen. Do you have the stream up?
No, I have my phone.
Yeah, well, look at it on your phone. You'll see how terribly you're squared up. Anyway, here's the question. Okay, do you think Asian hate right now? Do you think it's a?
I don't see myself on the stream. I just see.
Well, I'll switch back to you real quick, and you'll see where you're at, and then.
Oh yeah, I see it. Oh, it's my.
Alex is hardcore chilling.
Yeah,
oh, it's my chest.
Don't get up, Alex. I know it's getting heated. Just look it up.
Here's the question: Do you think Asian hate? Okay, racism exists in America. Let's be clear. I mean, we all accept that. We all know that.
Wait, this is a confrontation. This is an intervention. Your fan is having an intervention with you.
Well, I'm clarifying whether that's what's happening.
I see how they come after my boy. I hear this.
So you're worried about.
Like, hey, Vito.
Sure.
Vito.
You are worried that people are going to take things I say, because you know where I'm at, and you know I love Asians. And I even wanted to make a joke there, and I didn't, out of respect to the Asian community. Here's a question for you. Do you think that, and we'll admit that racism of all stripes exists, and of course Asian racism exists. Do you think that right now there is a true epidemic of Asian hate, or do you think that this is just the current cause of the week, and it's blown out of proportion? Where do you stand on it?
Okay, I will give you my perspective. Someone who lives in Los Angeles right now and travels in liberal circles. I haven't encountered this myself on a daily basis, but I'm also in this sphere. I don't know what's going on in other parts of the country.
And I'd love to have an Asian person call in, but Asian people hate me. So, but if there are any Asians... See, I'm joking, and you're not smiling, which makes me uncomfortable. There it is. Well, that's what I wanted.
He's here. That's an uncomfortable laugh. He is here confronting. This is an intervention. See, the problem is you guys are both too conflict avoidant. You're having an argument, but like you won't just have it. And so I'm here. I'm trying to light the match.
Well, I'm trying to figure out where he's
at. It's like trying to light soggy driftwood on fire. Like, let's go, guys.
All right, Mr. Girl.
No, I'm not here. No, you're wrong. You're wrong, Alex.
Fuck you.
I'm not here to be confrontational with anybody.
I'm gonna mute Mr. Girl for 2 seconds. I want you to get it out.
He's just trying to stoke the fires, Vito. He's just trying to get us to go at each other. I don't know what his deal
I'll bring
is.
it back in a second, Max. What are you? What do you think about the current ongoing political climate, racial climate?
Again, I see the reports on the news of what's going on around the country, and I don't experience it in my day-to-day life. You know, I have a lot of Asian friends, like close Asian friends. You know, I work with people of all backgrounds, so I don't experience it in my own daily life. But seeing it on the news makes me realize, well, maybe this is going on in other parts of the country and other pockets of the country that I'm not directly.
What have you seen on the news specifically? Because I know there was the shooting, obviously, is the big one. And there have
there
been
was that-
some China flu rhetoric, which I know is inflammatory.
Right. The first one that comes to mind is that woman who was assaulted, and she's donating the money from the ordeal back to fight
Asian hate.
Yeah, fight Asian hate. Yeah, you know who I'm
Right.
talking about? The old.
I saw that an old lady got attacked. Mr. Girl, you're unmuted, by the way. I don't know if you saw this as well.
Oh no, I didn't.
What was it?
I'm,
It was like
I'm
a.
just stunned by the conflict avoidance here. I'm reeling
I'm
from this.
I don't know this gentleman. I'm trying to figure
Why are
out
you
what
putting a
he's
sword in my
saying.
hand, man? I'm showing up to talk, and you putting a sword in my hand.
Yeah, come
No,
on.
You came out swinging. I'm just calling it like I said.
All right, I'm going to read this news article. 76-year-old Asian American woman to donate the money that was given to her after fighting back an attacker. She was attacked in San Francisco. $940,000 were raised to pay for her medical bills. But she's going to donate it back to the Asian American community. Well, good for her, because I would take that money and I would run to the bank with it. I don't care. So, yeah, there was this story, sure. I don't know. Who attacked her, though? Let's see. I don't even know. Stephen Jenkins.
Sure.
Stephen Jenkins, okay. After being chased, where and why? Here's the problem: is that okay? Like right here, I'm reading this news article. Both assaults are believed to be unprovoked. Investigators are working to determine if racial bias was a motive. I mean, I can assume that if you punch an old Asian lady, maybe you're racist towards Asian people. But I don't know. Maybe it's just a crazy person. Like, I don't know.
I would say there's clearly an epidemic of Asian hate happening.
Epidemic. So you think it's at a higher? Well, I would say it's probably at a higher level just based on stupid people in this virus. Sure.
And see, even
epidemic is a strong word, though. Epidemic.
I know.
And even if it's still on its way up, like that's why I wanted to mention the fact about like jokes right now. It's like the sensitive time. It's like either people like see it as like kind of a serious issue and like turn the tide on it, or people just like keep brushing it off and like, treating it lightly and then it could potentially get worse.
Fair enough. So I can't make Asian jokes right now. But now, are we far enough past Black Lives Matter that I can make black jokes?
Well, hold on, Vito. I don't know if you saw in the chat. I don't think you checked your Twitch chat earlier. But I think again, I will say, I think comedians should be able to say just about anything, and even if they regret it later, I think they should still be allowed to say it. They shouldn't have a fear of saying things.
Well, then how do you reconcile?
Comedians are for.
Hold on, let him finish. Let him finish. Let him finish.
How do you reconcile that with coming up to your favorite comedian?
I'm muting.
Shut his mouth.
I want him to finish.
Well, that was the second, Alex. That was the second part of my sentence. If you would allow me to finish my sentence.
Stop calling him Alex. It's Max.
But what's his name? Max.
Yeah, it's fine. I had to mute him again.
Max.
Finish your statement. God damn it, Max.
You can make the I'm not saying you can do whatever the fuck you want. But,
of course I can. Sure. But should I?
I would think like you make the jokes. This is an ideal world. You can make the jokes, but come from a place of empathy, and use it, potentially as a way to to increase awareness and sympathy to whatever the cause is. Like, make the jokes about it, make some light of it, so you can connect with people.
So if I made a joke like for awareness,
are being heard.
I could go, there's a lot of Asian hate going on, and to explain it, I'm going to cut to my Asian friend Ping Pong, and it's me, and I got big glasses and buck. All right, see? You're laughing, and that's the thing. Okay, look, obviously Asian hate is terrible. All right? Don't laugh. See? You're part of the problem.
It's all right.
Yeah. I come out wearing a hat. See, but you understand that it comes from a place of love. Okay, because I know not to do that. And a joke like that is ridiculing racists for how stupid it would be for me to do that. Now, I hear what you're saying. And real quick, I want to bring another guy into this conversation. Because we got Kaneen Snow. Kaneen, are you there?
Hello.
K9 Snow. Hey, you seem to be an African American gentleman.
Yes, sir. So I have all the privilege. So all you should listen to me.
Well, I want a black man's perspective on racial jokes in America. What do you think about racially charged jokes? Black, Asian, whatever else.
When it comes down to like jokes in general, because I think like back in the day, people used to be openly racist when it comes down to jokes.
Right.
But as far as over time has changed. you know, especially with new forms of media, like people start off making jokes, like you just get a soapbox on the side of a street, you just pulling up jokes, and boom, you just hope that someone listens to you. But over time, it turned into an artsy kind of thing where people, you know, they crafted, you know, you have the terrible offensive jokes, like people like, what's it, Gopher Godfrey with his 9/11 joke.
Yeah, but some jokes, some racial jokes do expose racism, and that's the problem, is that we've kind of lost that nuance. And there are people who use racial jokes maybe to spread hate. It's a complicated situation.
People can get them at what they want.
Yeah, the thing with jokes, you gotta make sure people laugh. As far as racist jokes, as far as here in America specifically, it depends on how you go about it. Because usually you get the black mammy jokes or like blackface jokes.
Right.
Like,
That's
those
all.
are usually over racist jokes. But, you know, over time, you know, we progressed. I'm sorry about that, but we progressed and whatnot. And so we went to a period where we can tell whether or not it's legitimately racist. Like, oh, you just say something like a joke, like, I don't like black people. it's seriously racist.
That's not a good
And
joke.
Yeah. Like, people now, we're smart enough to tell which jokes are not a joke and which ones are pretty damn funny. You know, like,
well, I think with Vito, part of the issue is that
why we gotta talk about me?
Well, because we're talking about you
know.
and your jokes. This is
It's your channel, Vito. It's your channel.
I feel like I'm in therapy.
Seminar.
Like
you are.
Is this an intervention?
Yeah, here's the thing.
Right.
Is that there is vitriol, but it's not for the people. It's not for Asians or black people or whoever the joke is about. You do hate people who are telling you that you can't say these things, or that you should be canceled, or calling you racist, or calling you alt-right, or whatever. And usually they are the butt of your jokes. You're throwing it in their face. I assume that is the point of a lot of the anger in some of these jokes.
Right. Well, I guess I can't believe I'm analyzing my comedy right now. Yeah, there is a level of, why are you trying to censor me? I'm one of the good guys. You know?
Right.
And I'm such one of the good guys who I love people of all colors and stripes. See, right there, I want to go, except this race. But you know I don't. Like, I deeply... why would I... I don't care about the color of your skin at all. I mean, I care about it insofar as I recognize your struggle and whatever else. But it sounds dismissive when I say it that way.
Hey, Vito, how many black friends you have? I just want to know.
It's a great question. The problem is, I want to say they're my friends, but I haven't seen them in a while. The real question is how many friends... The real question is, how many friends do I have? And the answer is like 2. So that's kind of my problem. Max is my friend. I got one. All my friends are in Massachusetts, and they're probably all white, unfortunately. But I know some black guys.
I'm your friend. I'm white.
Yeah,
I'm white.
Max is Jewish.
We tend to stick to our own.
Yeah, I understand.
We know where.
I do have a couple black guys that I'm close with, though. There's one guy, Luciano. He's a streamer. We always stay in touch whenever I see him at a convention. You know, it's not like I don't want to hang out with these guys. It's just they live in other parts of the country. Like, if they were local to me, yeah, I'd hang out with these guys all the time. And I have friends. A lot of my friends are Jews. I mean, you can say whether or not those are other white people or not. But I have a deep love and respect for the Jewish community, including Max, who is not a practicing Jew, but has that hair, of course. I don't know, man. I try to analyze my social group, and I don't know. I would hang out with anybody is the thing. Like, I really would. So, yeah, none of my jokes come from a position of, like, I can't think of any race. I mean, I try not to. Everybody has racial biases, right? And that's
most of your jokes are about political correctness.
Right.
Vito, honestly, like, my sense about you is that what you just said is 100% true. That's really the feeling I get from you. That's why I like watching you. That's why I like listening to you. You know, I love the jokes and everything.
I just like people, man. And if you came from a different country, or even if you're just born here and you're a different racial background, I find that intensely interesting. I want to, I don't want to interrogate you about it.
You want to explore.
Yeah, of course.
I think the position that's tricky that you're in right now is that all comedians are in, but especially anti-political correctness commentators, is that people are telling you the same shit they've always been telling you. Don't joke about this thing, blah, blah, blah. You shouldn't say this. You're a white supremacist if you say this. But then when people start getting shot and it seems like it could be racially motivated, and then the political correct people start capitalizing on that and using that to amplify something they're basically already saying, which is that, I'm not okay with humor. I'm not okay with talking about complex issues in a complex way that has no nuance. If there's any nuance or any jokes or any humor or any fun or anything, you're racist. This is some of the same people are saying this, but now they have more of a leg to stand on because there actually is something happening, and more people are going to feel that way.
They finally have almost a point where there
They have a
are
better
communities that are using humor to infiltrate, and they go, did you hear this one about the black guys, Did you hear this one about the Jews? And those guys legitimately are doing it as a way of, infiltrating.
It's fake,
right.
irony.
It's ops or whatever they call it. K9, you had something
So
to
if
say?
Asian people...
Yeah, as like when you were saying something like people who are usually political or SJWs, I think because times have changed, mainly because of the internet and how the internet gave everybody a voice.
Yeah,
you're hearing these people more and more. You're hearing their, because these kinds of people, they've always existed. You've
Right.
always had like busybodies or whatever. Like when it comes down to video games, you always had like the boomer conservative, like evangelical conservative types. They were like video games are for the devil. You play like Dungeons and Dragons, that's the devil, or you listen to metal, some stuff like that. But nowadays with the internet and at least the political ideology, what was it called? Is shifted. The political ideology shifted. So you're hearing people from the opposite side of the spectrum, saying things like Mario is damsel in distress.
Yeah.
So therefore,
or saying Mario can't wear a sombrero. Sly Raptor, did you have anything you wanted to add? I wanted to give you the final word here. It seems like you like me, so that means I like you. That's the most important thing.
Thanks, Vito. And I really do mean that, man. And it pains me to see people coming for you because I've watched you enough to know that that's just not who you are.
It sounds like it's a sensitive climate, and you're making a very good faith thing to say, Vito. These people are out canceling everybody, so take care of yourself. So, I hear what you're saying.
Again,
it's good advice.
Right,
thanks for coming by, man. I appreciate it. That was Sly Raptor. K9, feel free to. I feel like I interrupted you a little bit, but actually, let me expand on that. So here's what's happening: is I've always lived in as a comedian, as somebody who likes jokes, I've been dealing with this my whole life. Yes, you can't joke about that. You can't say that, whatever else. And for the longest time, I was able to say, well, eat a dick, buddy, because I'm going to make those jokes. I've never impacted anybody, or I've definitely never made anybody into a racist or whatever else. And if anybody came away from one of my jokes and made them into a racist, well, I don't think they were paying attention to my jokes, or they were too stupid to, and they were going to become a racist anyway. And yes, the problem is what I think we're talking about with Max is that we now have reached a point where it's hard for me to differentiate myself from the people who are now realizing that they can use comedy to try and subvert these communities and to be racist. And it's hard for me to go, well, I'm not one of those guys. I mean, look, why would I be one of those guys? I have no hate in my heart except for the Swedes. And other than them, we're going to be fine. But it's very hard to convince people these days that you're not one of these psychopaths, and I don't know the best way to do it. Can I keep making the comedy that I've always made? And a little, it feels like I keep losing what I'm allowed to talk about, what I'm allowed to joke about. Like there's jokes that I probably could have made 5 years ago that I can't make anymore, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Am I supposed to go with the flow and go, well, you just can't make those jokes, whatever, deal with it? Or am I supposed to be some sort of rebel that goes, suck my fuck, I'm going to say whatever I want because that's who I am. And I have to, as I say to people, I have to strike a balance. If I had fuck you money and I never had to worry about getting a job for the rest of my life, yeah, you'd hear me making every crude joke under the sun. But I'm a guy, I'm on YouTube. They can delete my channel. They can ban me from Patreon. And it's this weird, terrible cancel culture balance, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
The last guy's suggestion was that you
shut up
carefully. What?
No, I'm saying I should shut up. Is what he's telling me.
No. Was that you carefully construct your jokes and make sure that you're making the joke for the right reasons. But is a joke really funny if it's got like, because then you don't want to turn into all those late show, all of them really, but Stephen Colbert,
All the
every
ones
joke
that
he
are
makes,
apologizing for their old
every
jokes.
every Stephen Colbert joke is like, and here is the kind meaning behind this satirical comment I'm making, guys. And it's like, it's not funny. It's not comedy anymore. And so it's a conundrum.
What's that guy? Oh God, I can't remember. I'll find it real quick. K9, why don't you give me your final word? Ultimately, what should I do? What should I do as a comedian? Just do what I want and deal with it?
I don't know. I mean, you're a grown man, you can do whatever you want. But as far as making
That's
jokes,
true.
especially with sensitive times, I mean, ease up with the aging jokes usually, because it's usually the timing. But
it is the
I don't know what we should do. Yeah. I don't.
To be
I don't
fair,
know
well, that's the question. Is are we back? There was a whole year of Black Lives Matter. It's still going on. Can I make black jokes now? Is that back on the table?
I mean, depends on.
It depends on the joke.
I made some black jokes in my Black Lives Matter video
we don't
just
want to
now.
hear them, Mr. Girl. Well, actually, I know. We'll talk about that. All right, K9.
Well, I don't know if I made black jokes. I made jokes about racism.
Yeah, as far as closing statements, just do what you need to do, man. Try not to get yourself carried out too far. Yeah, don't overdo it, because you're still gonna have, because you always having arguments with other YouTubers or whatever. I'll be checking your Twitter feed out sometimes.
I know.
Yeah. So you don't want people already out for looking for blood or trying to cancel you, because they're
That's
trying
the
to wait
thing.
for that.
They're just grabbing clips of everybody. They're canceling everybody. It's crazy.
So I'm just telling you, just be careful. They're waiting for that slip up, so be careful.
I appreciate the advice, man. Thank you very much. Let's see if Goaty McGoatface fixed up his microphone here. There he is. There's my boy. What's up, brother?
What's up, Vito? Is it working?
Yeah, it's
Tell
good.
me this thing's working.
It's working.
Sweet.
What do you think about this new format with everybody's gets to show their beautiful face? All of you are way too close to the goddamn camera, but what can I do about that? Yeah, why don't you go there? That's better. What's on your mind, Jody? How you doing?
Pretty good. I see, I'm a guy that used to think Bernie Sanders had a bunch of pretty good ideas, specifically socialized healthcare, few other, government interventions to like universal basic income you were talking about. Not a bad idea, I thought. Recently, I'm kind of steering away from that thought because, well, a friend brought up to me and gave me a lot of examples of how almost every time the government has gotten involved in a private sector of the economy, they've completely fucked it up.
What do you mean by that?
No efforts. Well, let's see.
What do you think about? Well, do you think the government should regulate industries? Do you disagree with government regulation? Let me ask you a question.
I don't disagree with government.
How do you feel about the Food and Drug Administration making sure that you don't eat poison? Do you like that?
I think the FDA is kind of a joke currently, but I mean they do a basic good job.
Do you agree with the spirit of them testing stuff to make sure it doesn't kill you? Like that's not bad.
Absolutely.
I don't trust the private sector to do that. I also like that the FAA makes sure the planes don't all crash into each other. That seems reasonable to me.
Okay, yeah, those are fair points.
I mean, you could have the private sector do it, but I don't know. It seems like a good thing to regulate it, to be in charge of the air travel and building roads, all sorts of things. But specifically, what were you thinking? Did you just die? Did I just break my internet? Well, that was Goaty McGoatface, everybody, who is frozen for some reason.
I hear you.
Wait, can you hear him or you hear me?
Just you.
Yeah. All right. Goaty, is he coming back? Well, I think Goaty's gone. Trevor's giving me the thumbs up. Why don't we talk to Trevor, who figured out how to get my attention? Hi, Trevor.
I was saying yes, I can hear you, but I've also been trying to get your attention for a wee bit. Hello, Vito. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing, buddy?
Good, good. Let me make sure you don't hear that echo. All right. I got a few things to say. First, I've come to this opinion, and I've been on your show before, and I actually have some good news for you. Bit of an inspiration. I've currently been.
Did you fix that curve in your penis?
I don't think I ever talked.
You're not
about
the guy
that.
who came on with the crooked penis?
No.
Oh,
no.
okay. All right.
No, I'm not.
I thought that was you.
Note that this is not a denial.
I'm not saying mine isn't crooked.
You're like,
I'm
hold
saying
on, I have a crooked
it.
penis, but I'm not the same guy.
I'm just saying I didn't talk
All
to
right, all
Vito
right.
about it. No, the chicks love it. I boomerang screw them. It's great.
Beautiful.
Right. First thing, with the whole cancel culture thing, it's effectively the left-wing equivalent of McCarthyism, and I'm actually going to do a video on that very shortly on all non-Silicon Valley tech platforms at this just Trevor, hashtag not a plug, but it is a plug though.
Give me that plug slower so anyone can comprehend it.
Available on all non-Silicon Valley tech platforms at this just Trevor, capital T, capital
This
J,
just
capital T.
Trevor. There you go. You can find him on all of the things.
Yes.
So this is McCarthyism with their shutting down voices, their censoring voices.
It is left-wing McCarthyism. The traditional form of McCarthyism would be, they would say, okay, well, communism is bad, and everybody can universally agree on it in the way our current cultural climate is in America right now. Therefore, anybody who we can accuse of being communist is therefore a moral principle. And I'm going to get into better detail of this with the video, but long story short, it's within a moral ethical framework that the right had, because the right in the mid-20th century was far less materialist than they were today. But, they right-wing politicians, became more libertarian. They read Ayn Rand and stuff like that. Tremendous author.
So the right am I wrong in saying that the right used to be kind of the enemy of free speech and trying to shut down subversive speech?
Yeah, but the difference is they never, aside from things regarding to military affairs in times of war, they didn't succeed with the absolute cultural fascism that they seem to have. I got to give people a reason to watch my video. Why am I using my own talking points? Point being,
well, give me the ultimate theory here. Is that right now tech is engaging in censorship?
In regards to you, video, how it pertains to you, because I wanted to say this to you mainly. These people are snakes. These people are vultures. These people are sharks. They think you're bleeding. There's no point in pleasing them. There's no point in appeasing them. Just do what you want. You make great content, and honestly, and if they give you a hard time, flip them the bird.
Yeah, well, I mean,
they only have power over you because you're assuming that if you're assuming they want to engage. What these people want, they want views on their 7-hour bread tube.
They're
live
liars.
stream.
They're liars and crooks, and they're trying to bury people who they know that we again are satirists, and we don't. These things we say, even if we make an off-color joke, it doesn't come from a place of hate. But they for some reason, I don't know. They have this idea of a culturally pure society where satire is dead, and it's very bizarre.
And the idea of a culturally pure society is one of the cornerstones. Well, yeah, it is abhorrent, but it's also a cornerstone of actual fascism. It's the thing that Italian fascism and the Nazi fascism, the National Socialist branch of fascism that was in the Nazi Party in Germany.
Where are you going to post this video, Trevor? Where do we find the video?
BitChute, Minds, and Rumble. BitChute, Minds, and Odyssey are my primary ones.
Odyssey is the new one that people are talking about. Yeah, I don't know how to spell it.
I don't really. It's pronounced ADY and then SEE. It's spelled incorrectly. So.
Oh yeah, it's
I used
SE.
to post on Canoed, but the Eye of Sauron beamed down, and well, it's gone. So.
All right.
Oh yeah,
well, we'll be looking for you on Odyssey
during the quarantine. because the government says I can't leave my home.
Yeah, they're out there. Trevor, I'm giving you a plug. You're gonna find This Is Trevor on Odyssey. Trevor, I appreciate your good words. Thank you, sir.
Gracias, senor.
Be well. What was I gonna say? I wanted to give a thing about that. Hey, Max, how you doing?
What's up, baby?
We're gonna promote your video in a minute. I promise.
Oh yeah.
We've been having a good conversation, I think, with all this stuff. Am I wrong?
A bit heated at times.
It is a bit heated because it's a controversial thing, and for some reason I keep playing the video of Jimmy Kimmel doing blackface on loop, so that's fun. Here's what I keep trying to tell people. Look, right now we're in I was going to say holding pattern, but that's not the right way to put it. We're in a time of growth for the Veto Nation. Welcome to the Veto Nation, by the way, people. I'm going to give it I don't know. We're building the brand. Are we building the brand through cultural debris? Are we building it through Star Wars videos and movie reviews? Sure. But occasionally you're going to get hit. And I'm not even saying those things don't have value. They're fun. They're funny. They're fun. And we are building the audience towards a point where maybe Vito can cut a little loose. Maybe Vito can be like a guy like, well, not Steven Crowder, but a centrist version of a Steven Crowder. A guy who says stuff.
Yeah.
That's a little, whatever you want to say. As it all comes down to money. If you're making money for the YouTube machine, they're not going to delete your channel. And I'm not at the point where I make enough money for the YouTube machine. They'll cancel me in a minute. So, yes, I'm here. I'm fighting the good fight. I really am, and I'm finding different ways that I can express comedy in a way that doesn't get me canceled or any of you guys canceled or whatever else. But there is a line. There's a tightrope that I'm on. Did you ever read Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Max?
No.
You're aware of it though, right?
Yeah, I don't know what it's about though.
It's what's that guy? Who's the philosopher? It's about the death of God and the birth of the Superman to become the Superman. And we are all Nietzsche, yeah. We are all men on the tightrope caught between two dwarves. And I don't remember what that meant, but it's a great mental image. We're all like a snake grasping a mongoose flying through the sky.
You're going through a treacherous canyon. You're saying you're afraid you're gonna either
water
down your content too much.
I'm traveling through the darkest of woods. I have ascended the tree to the highest heights, and I have found no one else among its branches. And that fills me with a great sadness to say that the world is not ready for comedy on its truest level because a lot of people are too stupid to figure out what's being said and why it's being said.
You're afraid your platform will disappear or be derailed if you...
They'll cut the fucking tree down and I'll tumble with it. So, and that's always been the plight of the comedian, I think. Is to tell jokes in a way that get people towards a truth of some sort, that get people to reconsider things, but also not in a way that stupid people, don't know what you're talking about and then go beat up an Asian lady. Like, that's what you don't want,
Yeah.
What do we do, Max? Well, Max, you have a great video about race in America.
I mean, yeah, I've pretty much set my course on just doing it no matter what anybody says about it. But
see, that's what people don't understand about you, and that's what drives me nuts. People who hate Mr. Girl don't understand that this is one of the few guys who has burned the fucking tightrope to the ground and has said, I know that you hate me and you will always hate. Not everybody's going to hate you, but you say what you mean in such a real way.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why that infuriates people so much. That you're just like, here's what I'm. It's all out there. Every fucking horrible nook and cranny of the Mr. Girl experience is available for anyone who wants to see it.
I'm trying, but for every 400 subscribers you have, I have one. So
I'm trying, man. I'm pushing.
It's a balance. It's a balancing act. But I've staked out my. I couldn't go back even if I wanted to. I don't think that.
No.
I think at this point,
it's kind of my. Maybe it's my fault. Is it my fault that you're in the position you're in?
Partially, but no, I don't think. I think that's going to happen anyway.
I think you were going to get there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is, I'm like, well, that's what you want, right? That's what you kept pushing
It is.
on.
It is.
Yeah.
There were things I had already done before the Cuties review that was going
Right.
to make that happen anyway. People just didn't really notice them.
Yeah, and I was like, well, I mean, this is your brand plan. I'll put you in front of the right people.
You
And,
did, and it worked.
I did. For people
Yeah.
who don't know, originally me and Mr. Girl were going to review Cuties together. A movie I still have not seen. I still have Plausible Deniability. And we had a phone conversation where Max was like, all right, you ready to watch that movie and review it? And I went, I'm sitting this one out, buddy. And I'm like, why don't you review it? Why don't you review it still, though? No, I don't know if I told you. I said, you do whatever feels right, I think.
Yeah. You said those girls are so hot, Max.
No.
I don't think I can watch
No.
it.
I never said that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to prevent myself from getting a boner during that movie. I have not seen it. I have Plausible Deniability, and
No, it was
children are the
was all
worst.
me.
Let's be clear. The idea, as I always say, why would you want to have any relationship with a 12-year-old? Have you talked to a 12-year-old? They're awful. They're terrible. All they want to talk about is either Fortnite or My Little Pony or what. I don't even know what they're watching now. Beads. You ever have a teenage girl tell you about beads? I've been making things with beads now. Yeah, I don't care.
Right.
No one cares.
Yeah. Give me a mature.
Do you want to see my stickers?
18 plus.
No, I don't want to see your fucking stickers.
Right.
Yeah, I want a mature woman
No.
who's into real things like Evangelion action figures and all the other garbage in my background.
That's right.
Anyway, what I'm trying to say is I don't care about stickers. I like beads. That's a good joke. I gotta write that down. I want everybody to go to Mr. Girl Returns. Yeah, not everybody has to do it. I say this constantly. Mr. Girl is putting such effort into his videos. I love this thing with the projector.
Yeah, this one.
Given the crime. Is that your gun?
Oh, thank you.
I haven't gotten to this point in the video yet. Is that your what is that, an M4?
Yeah.
Not an M4.
That's my AR.
AR-15.
It's an AR-15. And as I point out in the video, it is the unfortunately same gun that was used in the Sandy Hook shooting.
I think it's the same gun used in all the shootings at this point. I think they
No,
were. I
lot
saw
of
a
them are-
list,
lot of
and it
them
was
are- like the Atlanta shooting recently was a pistol.
yeah. I think most
the-
of them though have been ARs.
Yeah, the
I
King
saw a
Supers,
big
the
list.
Boulder shooting was AR-15.
Anyway, why don't you real quick tell people what is this video? Because I know this is your masterpiece, and it's an hour and 30 minutes. So watch
Yeah,
it in installments.
it's a deep
as
dive.
I've been doing.
But it's basically my attempt to break down the discourse on Black Lives Matter and talk about the Black Lives Matter narrative, which I've defined as primarily that police are shooting black people because they're racist. They're shooting large disproportionate numbers of black people because they're racist. And challenging that narrative myself, but also challenging the counter narratives, which I also don't think are that compelling.
It's
and
an investigation of, are these shootings racially factor of race? I mean, there's so many guys out there who, anytime anything happens, they go, well, let's look at the stats. Let's look at the crime stats. You know, maybe black people are getting shot just because, you know, this stat or that stat, which
they're committing more crimes.
I don't endorse any of that talk, but this is an actual look at it and whatever.
Yeah, it's an uncomfortable look, I would say, but sometimes humorous look at the claims made by different groups, how realistic those claims are, and if there's a way to get people to talk to each other. I have a pretty contentious interview with a university professor who is now vaguely threatening to sue me.
Should I not put him on screen? Because then there's another
I don't
example.
care. No, put him on screen.
Yeah.
So I think he's lodged a privacy complaint. I don't know if he didn't like the rest of the video or if he got cold feet or whatever, but he may sue me or not. I don't know. I kind of think he won't, but he's vaguely threatened it. An interview with a Black Lives Matter leader who got charged with a felony like 2 weeks after I interviewed him, which was 2 weeks ago, for kicking a door that a cop was on the other side of. And then there's like a breakdown of a story of a woman whose police arrested her for throwing a spoon at a police officer because he parked on her driveway to check his email, her privately owned driveway, and would not leave. She threw a plastic spoon at him, and then they charged her with a felony and broke her teeth, arresting her.
See, this is all.
So-
This is all. I mean, you got to talk about race in America. People think it's such an easy conversation to have. They go, well,
Right.
either A, black people need to stop breaking the law, or B, cops need to stop being so racist. And you're like, well, there's shades of everything in there, and neither of those
Exactly.
is the correct answer. Neither of those sums up the problem that we have.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously both of those are part of the problem, but it's very multifaceted and they all interact with each other. You know, the more racist the police are, the more
there's some racist cops and there's some black criminals. I mean,
right, but they make each other exist too, right? Like the more racist cops, the more time black people spend in jail, the more time black people spend with their friends and family in jail, the more impoverished their communities become, the more
the poorer you
they turn to
become,
crime.
the closer you become to being a criminal, the more opportunities given to you. Yeah, it's
and then
very
the more crime you're committing, the more racist the cops are going to be because they associate you with people who look like you who do commit crimes. So it's a mess. And so this is an examination of that mess.
Well, I want to say I'm constantly ashamed of me making stupid Star Wars videos while you're out here talking about shit that matters. But I'm hoping to strike my own balance sometime in the future.
I love your Star Wars videos.
Well, what's great though is that we have these streams and we do kind of talk about some serious stuff. That we get into. I think it's almost like an interesting gateway. Somebody comes here and they go, I like this guy. He's funny. He's got a good head on his shoulders. Whatever. And then all of a sudden they're like, this streams are interesting. We're talking about real politics, whatever else. I got to find some good guests, but I always enjoy having you on, Max.
It's always a pleasure.
Mr. Girl returns on YouTube. We've been going for 2.5 hours. I want to get a couple people on here who have been waiting. Max, you going to stick around for the next 20 minutes?
It's up to you. I don't care.
All right. Well, I didn't know if you got something else to do. Let's take a couple more calls. What do you care?
Let's take some calls.
You got nothing going on. Promote, plug. This is people learning to love you. Let's see. I don't know who's been waiting longer. Let's talk to Funky Cold Medina, who I need to unmute because that's how this works. Hey, Medina, how you doing?
What's up?
Not much, buddy.
Feel free
to center yourself in the.
Oh yeah, I got you.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I can't hear them.
You can't hear him?
You can't hear me?
Yeah.
Hold on. Well, why not? You're on Discord. Hold on, but I just unmute him for me?
Yeah.
You should be able to hear him.
Can you hear me now?
You don't hear nothing?
No.
Thank you. Thumbs up. Nice.
Well,
you guys are white supremacists, I see.
Oh, God, are they giving the okay
The
symbol?
white
yeah. We don't none of that. Hold on. Let me see.
Oh, my God.
Did I set Mr. Girl to something weird? Mr. Girl, try disconnecting from the voice chat and then rejoining it. How's that?
Okay.
Which you probably can't reach it. What's on your mind, my good friend Funky Cold Medina?
Objectively, what's it called? What is it? Last of Us 2 is bad because Abby is too fucking yoked. And I'm insecure when I see that because I've been working out for 1 year and she's fucking built like a Mack truck.
Yeah,
and I hate myself when I see it. And she's got the guns of a fucking dude, she looks like a Belgian blue, my dude.
Abby Armstrong.
Sad when I see that.
Well, maybe the genetics are different.
Dude.
Maybe they're different genetics.
No, because you see her in the beginning and she's tiny. She's a tiny little person, and then she goes to Arnold, and I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? I wish I could do that. I wish I could just.
You feel cuckolded by Abby. You feel not.
Yeah, I'm like,
you
dude,
feel insecure.
Dude, I've been 17 years old. I've been working out since fucking 16 years old. A shitty ass squat and bench.
Max, can you hear him now?
No, I gotta fucking get on this shit because I can tell he's talking shit.
Yeah, he's talking about fucking Abby. Buddy.
I hate, dude.
Okay, but hang on, you gotta unmute me when I get back because it's gonna mute me.
245 pounds to 315, and I wish I looked like her. Jesus Christ.
She's been eating them chicken breasts, man. She's been eating those tacos. They eat burritos.
She uses special supplements.
What's in those burritos is what I want to know.
Growth hormones. That's
did you play the Did you play the game?
6'5", 225.
Did you play it?
I didn't play. I watched you play it, and I thought it was hilarious.
You watched me play it? Yeah, I gotta put that on there. Look at this lady devouring this burrito. Oh yeah, that's what you got to be doing, man. Oh, hold on, I gotta
Oh,
unmute
dude,
Mr. Girl.
I'm too fat.
All right,
man.
what's your fucking problem? You're threatened by
Dude,
Abby. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, dude. What'd you say?
He said you're threatened by her. You feel threatened.
I thought you knew my name. Oh my god. It
No,
sounds like
no, I don't know your name.
Romaine or no.
He's saying, let me break it down.
The joke is that
this
my name
man's
on
been
this,
This man's been
it
working
rhymes with
out.
my name.
Yeah, he's been working out his whole life, and he's not as swole as Abby.
Not my
And
whole life, but
he's
still.
upset. No,
Look,
your whole
man,
life.
You can work
your
out
whole
your whole
life.
life. You're not going to get as swole as like Scorpion or Joel or
Okay.
and Solid Snake.
You
Every
obviously,
video.
you're thinking about Jax. And
Yeah,
trust
I'm
me,
thinking about
I
Jax.
wish I could get as swole as him. Freaking guns, Jesus Christ.
Max,
that's
when
another
you
thing.
watch-
That's why it's an objectively bad game. It's so unrealistic. That
Yeah,
would never
yeah.
happen.
She's too big, dude.
One, there's
it's
zombies.
unrealistic.
Where's she
Max.
gonna train? You think she's doing push-ups? You
Yeah.
think she's doing push-ups? I do push-up.
To be fair, in the game they show they live in a sports stadium, so they have access
Yeah,
to.
they've got a gym and they've got tons of
Oh wait,
food.
200 what? 270, and I pop out 10 push-ups. Why don't I look like her, bro? Shit's
Why doesn't he look like
ridiculous.
her, Max? It's unreasonable.
Well,
What do you?
she does look like she's been doing some steroids.
She's got
but
some.
those
those arms.
Where's the steroids? Where's
Dude,
the
those
steroids?
arms are fucking nuts. I'm looking at them now.
Yeah,
it wouldn't
like,
be hard to
where
find
the
steroids.
come? Like,
If the
Here,
world
like-
ended, there'd be steroids everywhere. They're like most of the population's dead, so there's going to be all kinds of drugs. They should have more
yeah, but a
drugs than
lot of-
Last of Us.
One,
Honestly.
she was like a normal person. She's not just gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna go to a TRT clinic. Like, she doesn't know where the fuck that is.
She's not. Her father's a scientist. She's not a normal person.
Oh, maybe
her
he
father
experimented
invented the
on it.
vaccine.
He's not Bruce Banner. He's not that kind of scientist.
You don't have to be Bruce Banner to stick some drugs in your ass and get jacked. I
You know,
mean,
you're
a lot. There's
probably
lots of
right.
there's female bodybuilders.
All right. Look,
Yeah, but they don't look as okay. That's another thing.
Funky Cold
That's
Medina,
another-
go eat some burritos, buddy. That's my advice. All right, that was Funky Cold Medina. He feels emasculated.
They should have showed Abby doing steroids. That would have been cool.
That would have been cool. Yeah, I mean, she's
Yeah.
got some big old arms. I tell
She's
you what.
gigantic. She is
All right.
very massive.
I already talked to Nicolaides. So hey, Nicolaides, how you doing? It's good to see you on camera. I'll put him on his camera there. You can see him. There he is. Let's see. We're gonna talk to Pluto, then Dova, and no, we'll go Dova. Yeah, let's talk to. I don't know. Whatever. Let's talk to Pluto, then Dova, and then we're gonna wrap this thing up. Pluto, hello. Oh God, did I unmute
Hello?
you? Yeah, there you are. Now I can hear you.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Terrible. My life is always a mess, but that's fine. I'm doing fine. Pluto, what's on your mind? How you feel? Oh, real quick, Pluto, can you hold on 1 second? I keep forgetting to read these
I
super
can.
chats. Patrick Wrightson, I'm so sorry. It's been 45 minutes since he super chat. 1999 says, awesome to see another stream. I watch them every time. I appreciate the intellectually honest analysis from both you and Mr. Girl, regardless of political views. Great stuff. Thumbs up. What a
Well, thank you.
nice comment. Well, I think it was mostly directed at me, but
Well,
give
thank you for the part that
Yeah.
was directed at me.
Goaty McGoatface apologizes, says his mic crapped out on him. Next time he'll fix it. Well, we'd love to have you back, Goatface. All right, Pluto, what's going on? What are we thinking?
Sorry, I just checked over. I'm nervous.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Sorry.
Where are you calling from? What country are you in?
Freaking cheeseburger land. I mean, I'm
good
calling from
old
Pluto.
Jesus Land? You're calling from Jesus Land, you mean? The United States of Jesus?
Nah, I'm all the way out in the Kuiper Belt. It's cold out here.
Oh, yeah. I hear you. Well, what have you been thinking about our discussions tonight? Anything pique your interest?
Just I've been. I mean, it's most of the same stuff that I've been hearing nonstop, and I'm just like, I'm trying to remind myself that this isn't normal and this should not be normal. But
What's not normal? The shootings or comedy being under attack? Being trapped in our homes waiting to die from the Black Plague? That's a little weird.
Yeah, it is a little weird.
Mr. Girl looks so
Oh, well.
serene right now, by the way.
I am. I'm looking at my skylight,
It's beautiful.
thinking
Oh,
about
well.
the plague.
Comedy
Trying to
helps
figure
me
out what Pluto.
Yeah, Pluto.
That's your name, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out what Pluto is talking about when he says this isn't normal, and you're trying to figure it out, and he's not answering, and I'm just like, I wonder what he's talking about.
What's not normal, Pluto? The world?
Actually, now that you think about it, I saw that, like, I don't know, back in the 1800s there was a big plague, and in the 1900s there was a big plague, and now we got COVID-19. So
maybe this is normal.
Survival.
Yeah, maybe this is the natural progression of things, is that we have a big plague. Frankly, I don't think it wiped out enough people, because I want some lower real. I can't afford a house. I thought all the old people were going to die off, and there was going to be all these houses on the market. I want a cheap place. House prices are going up. It makes no sense. That was the other way around. I don't want any old people to die. I'm joking, of course.
Ah, well. Comedy helps me cope. Drawing, too, and writing.
Yeah, you do a lot of creative things. That's great. I think now is a good time to be creative. To if you have a passion in life, I'll announce it here today, and we'll see if I stick to it. March, April. I'm hopefully gonna take May. Wait, what? March? Yeah, I want to take the month of May. I'm working on a couple creative projects, so you might not see a YouTube video from me in May. I want to take a month to try and nail some of these creative projects. Some of you who follow me on Twitter maybe have seen some of the stuff I'm working on. Maybe I'll put it on the screen in a second, but I'm going to do some writing, do some script writing, try to get some scripts together, because now is a great time for creativity. I want to branch out a little bit from the YouTube experience and see if I can maybe make some entertainment that I think other you people will enjoy. We'll see.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, I'm excited. All right, Pluto, anything else on your mind? Just wanted to come in, say hi?
Yeah, pretty
All
much.
right, man. Well, thanks for being a fan. I'm glad to hear it, and I hope things get back to normal soon.
Yeah, I got
Take
a lot
care
of
of
projects I
yourself.
want to share with people.
Nice. Cool Minecraft poster, by the way.
Hey!
All right, buddy. That was the greats. Pluto. Mr. Girl, you love Minecraft, of course.
I do love Minecraft, yeah.
I gotta
don't
start a
play it
server.
lot, but
People keep telling me to start a Minecraft server. I'll do it at one of these points.
you should.
Let's talk to Dova Douche.
I like
Sorry.
wandering around.
Yeah, it's fun to find stuff. Douche! Booger and
What's
the
up, Joe?
Douche, live on WKRP Cincinnati. How's it going, buddy?
What's up, Vito?
No, that was Parks and Rec had some character name. Ira and the Douche. That was a good joke. All right, what's going on, man? Sorry to interrupt.
It's okay. It's okay. Just a little disclaimer. Not American. English is not my first language whatsoever.
Okay.
If at any point you lose, just call me out, and I'll loop back and try to make it keep the flow.
Yeah, we'll keep it slow for you.
You seem fluent.
No.
I think you're okay.
I'm not. My problem is not with the hearing, because I can hear it and I can keep the conversation. My problem is with the speaking.
Your
I
speaking
can fuck
seems
it up.
fluent.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah,
you're
it's okay.
definitely pretty good. Go ahead.
Anyway, so Vito, I'm kind of feeling out of place now, because I was gonna loop back to humor.
Well, no,
And,
let's talk
well,
about it. I think that's still on the table.
You know,
for sure.
everything we were talking about, how humor is under attack, and humor is people are being called out for shit they said like 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago, and they're being attacked by stuff they said in a completely different context. And the way that humor is, even you, I saw the other video about the researchers that said you were spreading racist speech.
Radical. They called me radical right-wing politics.
Radical right-wing policies, and I'm like,
What is that? That drives me nuts, by the way. I was very
No, I was watching the video and I was
upset
just
about
thinking,
that.
what the fuck is going on here?
I don't know. Well,
completely
that's what
upside down.
I wanted to know. I'm like, what do you mean I have radical? What does that mean? Like, can you give me an example? And I even emailed them, and they're like, well, no, but you're a bad person, and you said mean things about feminism. I'm like, I think a lot of people on all sides say mean things. I don't even think I was that mean to feminism. I think I was kind of jokey about it. And as I've said, I got no real problem with, treating women the same way and paying them the same wage or whatever else. And you can argue about the wage gap and whatever. But I'm on the side of women. I love women. I make love to women. Haven't done it in a while, but I keep thinking about it.
Just another quick disclaimer. I don't want to, rattle any cages. I'm
Yeah.
not American, so
when I'm speaking from my own European experience. You see, from my context, I'm not, just tossing stuff over to your side and saying you people are this or that. But the way I see it, and humor, and not just humor, a lot of speech, as recently it's besieged, it's attacked on a daily basis, just like happened with you. And I don't know why. I can see how. It's very simple. They just take stuff out of context. Stuff you said, just your complaints about Admiral Holdo. Yeah. Holdo. The plan, and you said it's a stupid plan. This is not a plan. And they take the target of the speech and they just completely put it on the other side, and they derive let me see this. They confuse the intent with the target. You see?
Yeah, because it involves a woman, they think I'm attacking women.
Exactly.
Right.
They confuse the intent of the speech with the person it's directed to. And just because I'm saying something about this or that, doesn't mean that I'm attacking you.
I mean, that's a lot of the nuance that we're losing. I mean, we saw it with this shooting where everybody is saying, well, this was an Asian hate crime. And the shooter said, no, I just kind of went after places that were employing, sex workers.
Took care of the temptation, so to speak.
Yeah. If this guy hated Asians, I mean, the discussion, as we've said, mass shooters usually want you to know why they did it. Like, they're not trying to hide it. They did it on purpose. So the guy's not, lying to you. He just,
No.
Yeah.
I mean, he's trying to get out of what?
He's not trying to weasel out of a thing or whatever. Yeah.
And then the thing about humor is recently there was this whole conundrum in my country 2 years ago when, you see, we have a tradition here that our universities, at the end of the year, every single major of the university builds a car, an allegoric car. Oh, my camera just went tits up. Yeah,
it's okay. It froze. Don't worry about it. I can still hear you. There it is.
Every single major builds a car, with a pun. It's a name. It's a funny name, a pun, and everything. Yeah, my camera went tits up again.
Just talk. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Every single major builds a car, and we have a whole parade at the end, and the name of the car is a pun, and students just call out problems in society. You see?
Yeah.
And there was this whole thing, because one of the majors named their car Alcoholocaust.
That's funny. That's stupid. I love it.
I know. The first time I heard it, I was like, oh, that's funny. This is going to ruffle some feathers,
Yeah.
But, and they were complaining about the state of the university and the teaching and the students that were being corrupted by alcohol. And automatically, when the name came out, Alcoholocaust, Jesus Christ, the shitstorm.
It's a joke. It's such a joke, obviously. It's got nothing to do with
it. And this is absolute. Teachers were threatening them inside the campus.
Oh, my God.
People were being threatened with violence. Some of my colleagues were evicted from their apartments by the landlords because they were
What, because they took part in it? Oh, my God.
No. Here's the thing.
This
was the third year. The senior year organizes this.
Yeah.
I was what do you call the second year in university? Sophomore?
Yeah, sophomore. Oh, did I lose?
I'm not sure.
No, go ahead. I had a hiccup there.
Sophomore, the second year. Yeah, I'm back.
Good.
This had nothing to do with me. It was the older students that did this. And the older students did this, and some of my colleagues that had nothing to do with it, just because we were all in the same major, some of our colleagues got evicted by their landlords. They were evicted because they were
the event related to your major? Like it was only people taking that course?
Yeah, it was about my major. It was about my major.
God.
History, And people that had nothing to do with it, absolutely nothing,
right,
got evicted. Some people were.
I don't know why we're having this. it seems like everybody wants to be the most perfect person in the world, and they think the only way to do that is to take everybody else down. You know what it is, though? It's bullying. Max, would you agree with me on this, that there's a lot of people out there who want to be bullies, and now they have a good excuse?
I guess they don't think of themselves as bullies, though.
I know they don't
I feel like
think
bullies,
of themselves as
bullies at school know that they're bullies.
Do they,
You know,
though? I mean, I guess
alcohol
they
has killed
do.
a lot more people than any genocide ever has.
Yeah, I had a hiccup. I just got back on.
Oh, no
You were
problem.
saying,
We can still hear you.
You were saying bullies. They're straight up bullies.
The problem is that now they think they're victims. That's what's tricky. Is they're bullies who feel like they're being victimized.
Which makes why do they not understand that they have the power? Like, that's what I don't understand.
You know what?
Well, but to them,
main
they're reclaiming
argument
power.
was- the main argument was that we get that it's a joke, we get it, but, and this is the big problem, we don't like the way you are portraying and remembering the Holocaust.
I think we're so far away from I don't know what's going on. I mean, the Holocaust is 80 years old at this point. Like, are we ever going to be allowed? 80 years old. At some point, no one's going to be alive who died during the Holocaust. Like,
Some of my
that was
colleagues
the
were
stupidest
being
thing I've ever
called
said in
out.
my life.
Yeah.
At
Some
some
of my
point,
colleagues
no
were
one who
being-
died in the Holocaust will still be alive. Thanks, Vito. That was smart. You fucking idiot. Yeah, go ahead, Nova. Go ahead.
Some of my colleagues were pretty much doxxed, being called anti-Semitic. And they were saying, these are anti-Semitic members. Let us show them what we feel about anti-Semitic. You see, it was an absolute gang up.
So what do you?
This is.
Yeah, I mean, I
this
hear
is
what
the-
you're saying. This is the reality you're living in. What do you think we
But
need
wait,
to
this
do?
gets better.
Okay, let's hear the.
It gets
Give me
better.
give me.
These cars that we were building, they were housed before the parade. They were housed in the military headquarters of the city, so to speak.
Yeah.
You see, our military isn't, well, as serious as American military, but it's still a military outpost. It's the headquarters of the military
Sure.
for that whole district.
So they had the cars
car-
held
in
there.
there.
Yeah.
Some people actually broke in to the military quarters to check if the car was going out with its name, because they wanted to stop the car from rolling out in the parade with the name.
Right.
And the car did. It rolled in the parade without the name. There was no name on the car.
Right.
They couldn't.
So they're
broke in-
so fanatic that they broke into basically a military outpost.
They broke into the military base to check if the car had the name
Had
the
the
day
name
prior to the parade.
So what do we do about this fanaticism is the question. What do we do about these people who think they're so in the right that they want to storm a
And
military
that's what I want to
base
say to you.
to shut it down?
That's what I wanted to say, Vito. You keep doing what you're doing. You know, I've seen your
trying.
humor. Your humor
Yeah.
your humor is squeaky clean. I mean, there's nothing.
That's the problem.
because-
Is like maybe I'm too clean though. Like I keep being like, am I being a pussy by not? The problem is I've never really been a super offensive comedian to begin with. Like if you look at some of my
Exactly.
jokes, they're pretty stupid and tame. But occasionally, yeah, I'll put a little something out there. So the idea that anyone's saying me of all people is right wing, I'm like, when you get down to it, a lot of my jokes are boring and well, not boring, but they're not. I don't make a lot of racial humor. I don't make a lot of misogynist.
No, you don't.
humor.
I've seen your channel. I mean, I think that probably the most fire-starting thing you ever did was going to the rallies with the popcorn. You know, the popcorn.
And even
costume.
then, I acted like I didn't take a side. I didn't make a political statement. I was like,
I was just
everybody
wanting to
here,
sell popcorn.
yeah, everybody here's having a day, and however people react to a popcorn guy, I mean, that's the joke. Just the reaction of the different people there. And you could say, well, you're not taking it seriously and whatever else. Sure, there's maybe some criticism there. But ultimately, I don't find a lot of humor in these. There's a lot of these super partisan comedians who do comedy from a either right wing or left wing perspective. I don't think it's funny.
I've
I think
tried.
it's-
I've
yeah.
tried. Yeah, it's not funny. I've tried to see this super clean comedy that offends no one, but it's not funny. And it's the thing that I find
you
that
need
people
to say
that's on people.
things. You need to say things that maybe people don't say. If
What I
people have
find
heard it
that
before,
people
yeah, go
get
ahead.
lost on it's this. Humor is based on the ridicule.
Right.
Pretty much all of humor is based on the ridicule. So, for example, if I make a misogynistic joke, like I'm talking to a colleague of mine, and she's blah blah blah, blah, and I'm like, "Oh, shut up, make me a sandwich," and everybody laughs.
Yeah.
People are not joining in to the, because if they took that seriously, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, shut up, get back in the kitchen." But when people laugh, they recognize the ridiculousness of what I just said.
Right. You're
You see?
exposing the
I
idea.
think there are people who feel. I think that you can have it both ways. You can laugh at a racist joke and still be racist, and you're not.
Most definitely. That's why I said
Because you're
humor,
laughing.
not all.
Yeah, because you could be laughing at the people who would be offended by it. A lot of humor is like that now. You're making a joke, like when Steven Crowder makes a joke. The reason his audience laughs is because they're thinking about how mad the liberals are going to be when they hear it.
And it probably goes the same way that the liberals make jokes that they're like, take
Exactly.
that, conservatives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They do.
But Mr. Joel, the thing I have to say in that point is that freedom of speech is one of the bases of democracy. And
Yeah,
freedom
kicking
of-
people out of their houses for being, even
Jesus.
if they are actually anti-Semitic.
They were not even involved.
I know, but the problem is that a lot of countries in Europe have tried to outlaw the ideology
Holocaust
and
speech and anything.
Yeah, they
just
think
a
you
little-
can stop fascism by outlawing certain thoughts, which are very ironic.
And has not
Yeah,
worked
it's like-
at all.
I remember having a discussion during that period where I said, how is putting into action things that would be characteristic of a fascist government going to stop fascism?
Outlawing thoughts is what allowed the Holocaust to happen. So
Exactly.
you can't stop on the next one by doing the same thing.
And by all means, I said freedom of speech is quintessential. It is, but
Agreed.
I don't recognize all speech as freedom of speech. All speech that incites violence, pretty much. The problem is the definition of it. What incites violence and what doesn't.
I think you have to have a pretty broad definition. I would rather
That's the problem. It's the
accidentally
definition.
I would rather accidentally legalize some speech that incites violence than accidentally suppress speech that doesn't.
Exactly. If you're going to make what you can't be right all the time. If you have to, box it in, I would rather have some speech that it's not really, clean come out than boxing in speech that's clean and that
You
has
got to err on the
nothing to
side.
do
Yeah, we
with
got to err on
inciting.
the side of caution right now. And thank you, Dova. I think we're going to wrap things up. But I hear what you're saying. Give me the final thought. Final thought.
Final thought, and this is one thing that I try to live by. Everybody has the right to feel offended, but no one has the right to not be offended.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you, Dova. He's got a very good point. We're at a weird time. Should I grandstand? Should I give a big speech?
Yeah, grandstand.
Okay. Let's grandstand. Let's one-shot it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at a weird time. Not only in this country, but around the world. Speech is more important than ever. Free speech. Because we live at a time where free speech is, maybe it sounds like a cliche, under attack. And the people who want to take your free speech away, they're not doing so because they want to hurt you. They think they're doing it for your good, to make you a better, more enlightened person. And these people are ignorant. These people have not thought through the ramifications of what they're trying to do and where the dissolution of free speech inevitably leads. As we have said, it's the quickest path to fascism. I'll tell you that. It doesn't lead directly there, but it'll get you there pretty darn quick. So, do what you can to stand up for it. I'm not saying you got to be on the front lines and put your career at risk, because obviously they're out here canceling everybody, and they tried to cancel me, and they'll keep trying to cancel me. So one thing you can do is if you see people who are being canceled, I mean, we've talked about this, stand up for them. Set the record straight. If you see an audio clip, a video clip posted out of context, go, well, actually, if you hear what he was actually saying to stop Asian hate. All
As
right,
you have done for me.
As I've done for the good Mr. Girl, of course. And if you see somebody who paints a stupid word on the side of their car, alcoholic cost, say these people are ridiculing. You know, we're getting over that tragedy. We're getting past that tragedy. Okay, we're
Don't
showing
agree with that.
we've evolved as a people to understand.
I don't agree with that.
Well, do you think that we shouldn't have the alcoholic cause? Look, I'm not going to say that it's I'm not going to say it's a step forward for humanity to have the alcoholic cost car, but it is to say we can poke fun at this thing.
I would say that that it doesn't matter whether we're over the Holocaust or not, or how sensitive it is. If you're going to let people put words on cars, then you have to let them put offensive words on cars.
And you have to be willing to... We were talking about this idea of context. Do you really think a guy who paints alcoholic cost on his car did it because he hates Jews? Or do you think he did it because he's like... And he might. He very well might. But are you going to give him the benefit of the doubt? Are you going to give him the benefit of the doubt?
Even if he hates Jews, he should still be able to say that on his car.
Yeah, because then it lets me do it. If we let the Nazis do stupid stuff, then I get to do stupid stuff, and it's fun. That was a terrible summary of this entire issue.
It's true, though.
It's true. You have to let the bad people say whatever they want. This has always been the free speech argument. You know, why would you let these bad people say these awful things? Well, then, because when I want to say something awful, no one can tell me otherwise. And maybe the awful thing I want to say is, hey, we should let gay people get married. Which at one point in this country's history and many other countries' histories was one of the most horrible things you could say. What are you talking about? There's a disgrace to God and the country and whatever else. Well, thankfully, we had free speech in this country, and now people get to be happy. Kiss your boyfriend on the mouth. I love it. Good. Okay? That's what we need more of.
That first they came home, where they say first they came for the socialists.
Yeah. First they came.
It's the opposite now with
first they came for the Nazis.
Exactly.
Then
they come for the Nazis first. And then they come for alt-right people, and then they come for Trump supporters, and then they come for any conservatives. And then they start coming for Christians, and then they start coming for straight people, or whatever, you know, however you want to classify it. Then they come for white people. It's obviously not exactly the same, because so far it's just censorship and losing your job or being tarnished by, you know, your reputation. People aren't getting locked up in America for saying things.
But what's great is I see people pushing against it, and that's what I want to encourage. I see you guys on Twitter, okay, when they tried to cancel Dan from the Game Grumps or whatever else. Now, he didn't say offensive speech, but they just lied about him being a sexual monster. Okay, and I see you guys pushing against it, though, and that's what we have to do. That's how you mush the needle. If enough people say something, it becomes the way it is. And unfortunately, the loudest voices, for a number of reasons, have been the crybabies. I hate to say it. The victimized, the victims. We say, oh my God, they're victims. Their voices must be the loudest, so they'll stop being victimized. Unfortunately, some of these victims are not true victims, or have exaggerated their victimhood, or are using their victimhood to push, to take our free speech away, to take jokes away. And at some point, you have to say, listen, I know you've been victimized and you've faced hardship, but we're not going to upend society to make it so nobody can say anything or do anything. It's nonsense. Max, anything to add to that?
Just that's why the most offensive, disgusting video game needs to be not interfered with by governments. Governments cannot interfere with it, because the most disgusting, awful, offensive thing is always going to be the first to go.
You, as a person who, especially you people in the video game industry who claim that your medium is art and you want it to be art, you should want the most horrific, disgusting video games to exist. You should want video games that are just babies getting raped or whatever else. Because you know what? The existence of that game ensures that your art form will forever exist without censorship, that it is capable of depicting the most horrific whatever things. And you have the free speech to say, this game offends me to my core, that no store should carry it, that no you can say all of that shit. But the second you say, I want to censor this, I want the government to step in and legislate it, you've lost the plot, you've lost your mind, and you are asking to have your own speech taken away. Why do you want Why do you want the people who made the baby raping game to be responsible for taking away your rights? You shouldn't.
Yeah, it's your own rights that you're signing away.
And you shouldn't. Max, give us a plug. What do we do? Where do we go?
Go to, well, if you want to get really into it, go to my website, maxcarson.com, maxkarson.com, and you can see all of my older videos from before my channel was unceremoniously nuked by YouTube. But for newer videos for the last couple months and videos going forward, you can just find them on YouTube, Mr. Girl Returns. YouTube/Mr. Girl Returns.
Now, let's say they don't want to go right into the hour-and-a-half deep dive. Where should they start? What's a good one?
I would start with the monster I've been fighting my whole life, because people find that have been a pretty good response to that. It's a little story about the trouble I've gotten into, getting suspended, getting arrested in college for talking, my man-hating lesbian mother, and other funny, terrible things that happened to me in my life.
It's a good deep dive to learn the entire. Oh, hey, there's ARHS, our old high school. There it is.
It gives you. It kind of gives you like a way to understand my other content if you're not familiar with it. It kind of gives you an idea of where I'm coming from.
Fantastic.
People often find my content alarming, so maybe this is a good first one to watch.
As I say to Mr. Girl's haters, if you only ever saw one video of his cut up by a YouTube commentator, I urge you to please give another try to this content. There's so much more there. I really
that's
think
that's like taking a piece of Domino's pizza and just pouring off the orange grease on top and calling that Domino's. It's not the same. You gotta have the whole thing. All right.
I'm gonna give a plug. Vito's working on his animated cartoon. I drew these loving characters. Have you seen the cartoon I'm working on, Max?
I have. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, well, we've had this script for a while, and I'm finally... I don't know if I can announce this, but I'll leave the name out. We have a pitch meeting, or at least my buddy has a pitch meeting set up with a very famous music producer.
Congratulations.
A black gentleman. That's as far as I'll get with it. Who, for some reason, wants to make cartoons. And they're pitching something else entirely, but he wants to bring multiple projects to see if the man, if they pass on the first one, here's the second one. We'll see where that goes. A bit of a comedy thing. So I'm trying to get together, maybe not just one. I have a couple different pitches I might put together, but I've been drawing little characters. I can't draw very well, but at some point I'll send these terrible drawings to an actual artist and be like, hey, can you make these look a little better? I do okay. So, once again, Mr. Girl returns, and if you're here, I think you know how to find my YouTube videos. I do have a good YouTube video coming. Mr. Girl knows what it is, and he's going to send me that video footage at some point. No one else has sent it. The only person who has sent me footage for that, you know who it is?
Who?
Keemstar.
That's weird.
Keemstar immediately, I said, do you want to be in this video? 2 seconds later, sent me a video clip. And the video clip is terrible, and I almost don't want to use it, but I'll put it in because it's Keemstar.
You have to use it. It's Keemstar.
I have to use it. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Vito Show. Thanks again to my guest, the great Mr. Girl. Everybody who didn't get on, I probably didn't put you on because I hate you. Grodd is sending me angry messages, which means I did something right. Again, the Vito Show. I love you guys. Take care of yourself and the people around you. God bless, and good night.